Welcome, everyone. I think we'll get started with roll call.
Here.
Valdez?
Here.
Trustee Shaw?
Here.
Trustee Barkey?
Here.
Trustee Williams?
Trustee Williams will be here in about an hour.
All right, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. 4-0. And a motion to accept the minutes? Moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, and that passes 4-0 as well. Next, I would like to invite Rabbi Adam Greenwald to the podium from Congregation B'nai Israel. And would you tell us where your congregation is, just in case somebody is so moved that they want to come visit?
Absolutely. We are always accepting new folks. We are in Tustin at Tustin Ranch Road and Bryan. It's taught that when the Holy One first offered our forebears the Torah, the sacred teachings of justice and moral responsibility that have shaped our world, God started with a question. On whose merit shall I grant you my Torah, my most precious gift? The people said, grant it on the merit of our ancestors, but God said, their time has come and gone. And then they said, grant it on our merit. And God said, I will not, because I know how often you fail. And they thought for a moment and they said, grant it on the merit of our children. And at that, the Holy One smiled, and Torah was revealed in the world. We gather in this room this evening to reaffirm that our responsibility is first and foremost and always to all our children. To the sacred promise we make to them to keep them safe and well, to teach their minds and hearts, and to nurture them into the people that God needs them to become. They are our future and our reason to keep hoping and striving and building for a better world. God of us all, we ask your blessing on all those who share in the sacred work of teaching and learning. Bless this board of trustees as its members exercise their authority with wisdom, integrity, and an awareness of the awesome responsibility entrusted in you to shape a path for all of our kids. Bless our principals and administrators that they may lead with compassion and fairness. Bless our teachers who give generously of themselves to inspire and empower, who stand among our society's truest heroes. And bless our children, all our children, of every background and belief, every neighborhood and nation of origin, who come together in our schools seeking safety and support to learn and to grow. We pray especially for our children, for whom school is a true sanctuary, a sanctuary from hunger, from violence, and from despair. May we keep our greatest focus on the most vulnerable among us. May our duty to them remain at front of mind and top of heart. It was for the sake of our children that Torah was given. And it's for the sake of our children that you gather in leadership to guide us, to share your wisdom, and to help us all find a path by which they can all thrive, flourish, and grow. May God watch over you all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that beautiful invocation, prayer. Are you the synagogue? Did you host Brandy Shufantinsky a few months back?
We did.
That's why you look familiar. I thought.
Yes,
I know
you were
guy.
with us for that.
Yes, I was. So you guys remember Brandy Shufantinsky? She was one of the expert witness at one of our CRT forums. So they had an event, and it was
we were proud to host that event.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate you.
Thank you to the trustees.
All right, moving right along. I believe next we'll get into the flag salute, and we're going to have our General Counsel Greg Rowland lead us today.
Stand if you're able. Right hand over heart. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Greg.
Very welcome.
All right. Renee, do we have any introductions?
We have none this evening.
All right. So may I have a motion for the consent calendar?
Motion? So
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Passes 4-0. Oh, sorry, general public comments. Any of those? I
Yes.
missed that.
We do have 7, looks like.
All right.
So I think we'll do 3 minutes each. What I'll do is call a name and then who's on deck. And so whoever's on deck can be ready to go so we can keep it moving. So, it says, I guess, D.A. followed by Lori. Okay.
Yesterday, I emailed you a letter as well as my son's report card, state exam results, and an email that documents our situation. But I just wanted to come here in person and speak about our experience at Suncoast. I have 2 children at Suncoast Prep. This is our 2nd year at Suncoast, and we have really struggled this year. My son was in special ed, and he lost both of his providers over summer. I don't know what's going on internally for that to happen. Last year, his state exam scores dropped by quite a bit, and I asked for extended school year, but Teresa Grant denied my request because she said he showed growth in other areas. And as long as he is making progress, he's not eligible for extended school year. And I really feel like Teresa Grant has bullied me and Suncoast has allowed it. My son was supposed to have his triennial evaluations, and I was nervous because his last evaluation went so horribly. So I was anxious because I feel like he has had this negative and inaccurate label on him, and Suncoast services haven't even been effective at all. And I had a lot of questions about the evaluation, and they refused to tell me who the psychologist was or what specific evaluations they would be using. I have asked about intervention on multiple occasions. It's March, and he still has not received any help. Suncoast served me legal documents the day before Thanksgiving, and I was basically forced to give up all services for my child. Suncoast is happily taking money from the state, but refuses to really educate my child. And he does need intervention, but they won't give it to him. He is not being supported, and that the principal doesn't seem to care. I feel the administration has been very absent. I didn't even know who the principal was until this year, and I had to use ChatGPT just to find out her name and email address. And suddenly she's been more present in an effort to get parents to say positive things about Suncoast for the upcoming charter renewal. I think Suncoast needs to do more for students who are academically and socially struggling. I tried to sign my child up for reading comprehension class that Suncoast offers, but the teacher emailed me and told me he can't do it because it's mostly for 3rd graders. And I also think my child should have more funds and more opportunities for in-person activities in our county. Parents are doing all the work with not much support, and so many things are done through general emails and phone numbers. There's no real contact person. Suncoast has made this year very difficult for us, and I believe that Teresa Grant has been put in place to violate parent and student rights. I strongly encourage you to look into this situation and think about our children before you vote on Suncoast charter renewal. And I would also like to say I think there's some severe compliance issues, and I think it could possibly be fraudulent, and that information is in the letter that I sent yesterday. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Lori is next, followed by Greg.
Hello, I'm a teacher with the Access program, and probably, let's call it a month ago, I wrote a letter to Dr. Bean, Dr. Poulin, all the doctors, regarding transportation. And we have an issue with attendance in Access. And we've hired new people to come in and look at it and talk to all the teachers. And the thing that we really need is called transportation. We are a county-wide school. Okay, we have $500 million sitting in reserves. When I saw transportation as a report today, I was excited. Oh, good, we're finally going to do something. No, we're not. As a matter of fact, this transportation report talks about Access students getting transportation, but really only gives it to Skyview. I have many students who are within 2 miles of a site. 2 miles on a bus takes hours sometimes. Why are we not providing transportation for our students? Why is money sitting in an account not being used on our students? Second question, I asked for new laptop computers. The laptops I use in my classroom are from COVID, right before COVID. I asked for new laptops. IT was getting them ready. They got delivered to my classroom. They are the same exact laptops, same era, 7 years old. We have new ones. Why can I not get new laptops in my classroom? As a matter of fact, one of them had plaquing all over it. My student is helping me unbox these, and I'm upset because I know we have new ones. I know we have $500 million in reserves for our students that should be spent on our students, or the state should take it away. I said, my student said, why are you so upset? I said, no, we should be getting new computers for this classroom. And he said, no, that's for Irvine. And I said, I'm sorry that you think that. Why are we not spending money on our students? What are we spending it on? What are we spending it on? $500 million? We're not spending it on teachers. We already know that. I know we're spending it on salaries for cabinet members. That's cool. Okay, but I'm not sitting in my classroom when we're studying attendance throughout all of Access, and the one thing that we really need is transportation, and we don't have it. But again, we have $500 million sitting in a reserve. You tell me how that makes sense.
Greg will be followed by Taryn.
You get two for the price of one. Good evening, President Barkey and members of the board, Dr. Bean, OCDE staff, and community members. My name is Taryn Schaefer, and I serve as CEO of Orange County School of the Arts.
And my name is Greg Endelman, COO of Orange County School of the Arts. We're here on behalf of our school and our Board of Trustees.
Tonight, we're pleased to present a resolution that was just adopted by our board last week, resolution number 2026-01. This recognizes the Orange County Department of Education, the Orange County Board of Education, and Superintendent Dr. Bean for leadership and commitment to educational excellence.
OSHA is deeply committed to providing a rigorous academic and arts education that prepares our students to thrive in college and beyond. We know high-quality public education requires strong oversight, clear accountability, and most importantly, collaborative partnership. Under Dr. Bean's leadership, Orange County Department of Education has played a vital role in ensuring strong academic outcomes and high standards for all Orange County students.
Greg and I have experienced firsthand your collective leadership approach, one that values thoughtful dialogue amongst all types of schools, ensuring collaboration and innovation to provide students with the best opportunities possible. Through it all, your team has upheld fiscal responsibility, academic rigor, school safety, and transparency.
Today, this resolution reflects our appreciation for student-centered vision, grounded in continuous improvement and high expectations for all learners. It recognizes that excellence and innovation in public education requires both strong governance and strong partnerships.
We're here on behalf of OSHA tonight to formally express our gratitude and reaffirm our commitment to continued collaboration with OCDE and this board in service of all Orange County students and families. Tonight, we'll present this board with copies of our formal resolution and one framed version for the county office. On behalf of our trustees, students, teachers, and families, thank you all for your leadership. We are truly grateful to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
What a lovely surprise. Thank you so much.
Greg and Taryn, if you could come up. Board, if you'd like to come down and take a picture.
Sure, definitely.
Sorry. That was me. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys can go over there.
Okay, our next speakers are going to be Heidi, who will be followed by Michelle.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, esteemed board members and Superintendent Dr. Bean. As a teacher of record at Suncoast Prep Academy, speaking on behalf of our staff, I wanted to share the appreciation that we have for the professional development opportunities offered by the Orange County Department of Education. Our staff has attended the OCDE LCAP webinar and office hours, OCDE Contributing Actions, OCDE 2026 Orange County Counselor Symposium, OCDE Roots to Readiness English Learner Toolkit for Early Learning TK through 2nd, OCDE Student Services Network Meeting. Several of our staff, including myself, are also attending the upcoming CUE conference. I want to take this time and acknowledge our recent staff meeting as well, just because I like to give reports. So we meet as a staff once a month, and last month's meeting was something to be recognized and nothing short of pure joy, while many staff shared their appreciation for fellow colleagues. Such heartfelt appreciation was apparent to everyone who attended. So proud to be a part of such a wonderful community that truly cares about each other and the families we serve. As I have every month, on behalf of my staff and families, from the bottom of our hearts, we are so grateful for the support you continue to show us as a school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Michelle will be followed by Rana.
Hello, my name is Michelle Hollis, and I'm a teacher with Orange County Department of Education Access Program, and I've been teaching for nearly 30 years, and I came to answer a couple of questions that I heard specifically from Mr. Valdez regarding what do the teachers want, what the day, the times that they've shown up in red asking, what is it that we want? And how far are we from getting there? And the answer to that question is that we want to be seen, we want to be appreciated and valued, and that dollar amount is $1.7 million, which would put us in the top quartile, which is where Dr. Bean has been with his raise, and it seems only fair that we are the ones that work with the students, see the students daily, that have a relationship and a rapport with the students and the families. We are alternative and correctional education. That is not traditional, not the average student. These are students that have been expelled, that have been turned away from traditional schools, who have not been successful in traditional schools with education, with authority figures. And the teachers that work for Access have special skills and are trained. And I believe over 60% of us are in that last, our pay scale goes in range and steps. As I said, I've been here nearly 30 years. Our pay scale only goes up to 23. So we haven't received a raise, and now that we are beyond negotiations, they are trying to muddy the waters by adding the COLA, which everyone got. We went from a 3.5% offer down to a 3% offer. And the COLA is not something.
I'm sorry, Michelle, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to make a statement. Since we are in mediation, legally, neither one of us are allowed to speak about salaries.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with that said, I would just like to thank you for your time and for listening, and hope that you take what I said into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Rana will be followed by Catherine.
Dear Board, we want to continue to share our gratitude for your support for our non-classroom-based classroom-based charter, Suncoast Prep. I want to wish the charters that are here for renewal tonight all the best. I, along with several other staff members, recently completed CTE EL 100 with the support of OCDE teacher Karen Foster. The support to continue our education helps us stay invested in sharing our love for lifelong learning that we can pass on to our students. I got to go, along with several of our other arts administrators, We go monthly, and we learn so much from Scott Fitzpatrick and the other arts administrators at the county high schools via OCDE See Me, Know Me, supporting students who are multiple language learners in the arts. The meeting today was interesting. It was hosted by Jacob at OUSD, and they shared a lot about the changes that they've been able to implement in their arts programs with Prop 28 funding. It was very good inspiration, and there was also the mariachi band from El Modena High School also performed songs for us, which was awesome to see. We're still collecting artwork for OC Arts for All and Arts and Disability. We are very excited to have families participating again this year for our second time. The Suncoast staff and I are really looking forward to many more professional development opportunities. Thank you again for your continued support.
Thank you.
And our last speaker is Catherine.
I'm here to clarify some confusion. I took some time to review the board meeting transcript and videos, and here's what I noticed. First, let's clarify Access budget. Access is funded through unrestricted funds. So on December board transcript, when leadership talks about restricted funding, including the $100 million, that comparison created confusion. Second, I'm going to quote leadership here. Access has been operating in the red year after year for the past decade. We need to ask an honest question. Who's responsible for the budget? Educators do not control district finances. Leadership does. A 10-year deficit is not the fault of educators serving students every day. That is budgeting. That's budgeting issue at leadership level. And the $15 million deficit from last year, that's a mistake made on LCAP funding and budgeting, nothing to do with our educators. Third, we've been told the district is facing financial hardship, yet this year approximately 80% of management receive raises of 5% or more. 80%. That is significant. Because when educators are asked to lighten their belts, the community deserves full transparency about whose salaries have already been increased and whose have not. Finally, I need to correct the statement that our educators are among the highest paid compared to other districts. That is misleading. Our educators work 225 days contract. Many neighboring, almost all our district teachers work 185 to 186 days. So when you look at Access teachers, we work 40 additional days per year because we are a year-round program. When you calculate the daily rate, we are not at the top. In fact, we fall behind many districts in Orange County. These are the facts. This is about transparency. This is about accountability. And most importantly, this is about respecting the educators who serve our most vulnerable students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next I'd like to call Anna Lee up to the podium. Or Dr. Cradle, should it be?
So, good evening, Board President Barkey, trustees, and Superintendent Bean. My name is Annalee Cradle, and I function as the Associate Superintendent of our Connections Program, which is a wonderful opportunity for me. And I'm here tonight to celebrate an amazing group of students. And at this time, I'd like to call up the principal of our program at our Connections Program at University High School, David Longo. I'd also like to call up the coach of the wrestling team, Joshua Marks, please. And I'd like to call up our two interpreters that supported their adventure in Indianapolis, Tiffany Laird and Renee Mascara. And at this time, I'd like David Longo to come up and celebrate the team.
Thank you, Annalee. And good evening, Board President, trustees, and Dr. Bean.
You're You're a little tall for that.
I am a little tall. I'm just going to have to bend over, so be it. I am going to go off script for just a second, if that's okay. When Josh became coach 3 years ago? 5. Okay. Well, we immediately started talking about how we wanted to give our wrestlers more opportunities to get involved in more culturally relevant activities, that being competing against other deaf programs, other deaf athletes. We had a perfect opportunity last year when the State School for the Deaf in Riverside hosted the national tournament. And we went. We had a group, I want to say, of about 9 wrestlers at that point, all competing in the team and individual competitions. We actually beat the school from Fremont in that competition, and we had 2 of our wrestlers placed in the top 3. I say that because it's not just a tournament. This is the tournament for the elite programs, the elite deaf ed programs from all across the country. It's Florida, Maryland, Texas, Indiana. These are the best high school deaf wrestlers in the country. After that amazing experience, we decided that there's no way, we have to continue to be involved in these competitions. We were the first regional program to ever compete in one of these tournaments, and we weren't going to stop. So we committed to going to the next tournament, which was just this past year in Indiana. So I am very pleased and honored to have this opportunity to recognize the Connections at University High School wrestling team members that competed in the Willigan Invitational Wrestling Tournament this year, hosted at the Indiana School for the Deaf in Indianapolis. I'd like to introduce our wrestlers that competed. We had 7 competing this year. Our individual winners, I know last year we had 2 in the top 3. This year we had 4. Victor Romo, 3rd place in the 144 pounds.
Does he want to stand?
Yeah, you want to come up?
Actually, you know what, David, we have certificates for them.
Oh, wonderful.
And so maybe if the board would like to come down.
Sure.
And we could take pictures.
Yeah, right now.
Do you want me to rattle individually or as a team?
We have the top. We have individual certificates. Call them all up. Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
Can you read off the names?
Yeah, we'll read off the names. You can read off.
No problem. Yeah, Victor Romo, 3rd place in 144 pounds. Ayana Tierney, 2nd place. And again, these are national in the under 120 pound. And we had 2. Well, I'm gonna save the 2 winner. Eric Lozada in the 106 pound came in 4th place. Jaden Kinnikini for the 138 and 4th place. He was one of our top 3 placer last year. And then Joshua Alejandre in the 190 pounds. He competed in the team competition, but unfortunately hurt his shoulder, so could not compete in individuals the next day. And I've saved these last 2. These were 1st place national champions. Luis Saldano for the 113 pound category. And Emma Echeverria, 1st place in the over 120 pound. In addition, Emma was voted most outstanding wrestler for the girls division. The girls division, that was a new kind of group established this year. So Emma is the first recipient in Willigan tournament history. Okay. These accomplishments reflect the team's dedication, sportsmanship, and commitment to excellence in representing the Connections at University High School athletic program. I could not be prouder. Congratulations to all of you.
Get in the picture with
No.
him.
Guys.
You guys need to get in the picture. Get in the picture. Thank you. It's all right. Yeah.
I'm okay in the back, yeah, I'm always in the back. Let's have you come on over here. Right next to
Peek your head through.
Yeah, you should be all right there. Get you right here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Good job. That's that.
All right, well, that's fun. Next up is Araceli. Oh, do we have any charter submissions?
No, we do not.
Okay, so I'd like to call Araceli for the charter school public hearing for Vista Condor.
Good evening, President Barkey and members of the board. The board will now hold a hearing to grant or deny the renewal charter petition for Vista Condor Global Academy submitted on December 15th. Vista Condor is a district-denied charter school serving students from TK through grade 5 within the boundaries of Santa Ana Unified School District. The school's current charter term, originally approved in 2018, is set to expire on June 30th, 2026, pursuant to statutory extensions codified in law. Tonight, I am presenting the staff report regarding the renewal petition for Vista Condor Global Academy. At the outset, I want to be very clear. Staff is recommending approval of this charter renewal for a 5-year term. The school falls within the middle performance category pursuant to Education Code Section 47607.2 and is statutorily eligible for renewal. Our recommendations reflect that eligibility and the school's placement within the state framework. Under AB 1505 in Education Code, this board must consider school-wide and subgroup performance on dashboard indicators, give greater weight to academic performance, and ensure compliance with statutory and operational requirements. Our review was comprehensive and included academic data, fiscal solvency, governance compliance, and oversight findings during the current charter term. We did not identify any material, fiscal, or governance issues. Overall, the school is operationally stable. The areas identified in the report are not structural deficiencies. They relate to documentation, monitoring, and clarity around accountability during the next renewal term. With respect to credentialing, Education Code requires that charter school teachers hold the appropriate certificate, permit, or credential for their assignment. During this year's oversight review, staff identified one unresolved documentation issue and issued a notice of concern. To be clear, this is not a systemic issue. However, credential authorization is not discretionary. Under state law, the use of an improperly credentialed teacher constitutes a misassignment, which requires formal correction and can have fiscal implications. Our goal in recommending a credential compliance plan is preventative to reduce the likelihood of future misassignments and protect the school from avoidable compliance exposure. Turning to the academic performance, the school is in the middle performing category and eligible for renewal. The dashboard shows improvement, particularly in distance from standard measures, and that recovery is important to acknowledge. At the same time, statewide comparison data indicates that performance in ELA and mathematics remains below statewide averages across multiple student groups. While there are positive trends, subgroup performance has not yet consistently closed statewide comparison gaps. Staff focus is not on substituting one metric for another. Our recommendation is these recommended reporting and measurable outcome provisions are responsive to the board's request in structured visibility when performance remains below statewide averages or when subgroup gaps persist, so that progress can be monitored in a timely and transparent way. The recommended measurable pupil outcome provisions are not intended to create new statutory standards. They are intended to ensure subgroup performance remains visible, provide structured updates between annual dashboard releases to this board, and create predictable reporting expectations. These provisions supplement, they do not replace, dashboard accountability. They create a shared roadmap so that if progress accelerates, that improvement is clearly visible to this board. The semi-annual reporting component is simply a structured way of organizing information the school is already collecting internally. With respect to English learner implementation, staff previously issued a notice of concern regarding implementation of elements of their EL master plan. The school submitted a corrective action plan, and that reflects the responsiveness of the school. Monitoring will continue through our oversight functions under the superintendent. The intent is simply to provide transparency to the board as to where we are with their EL program. In summary, the school is eligible for renewal. Fiscal and governance systems are stable. Academic performance shows improvement, and there are areas where structured monitoring will support continued growth. We appreciate the school's engagement throughout the process. Our goal is alignment, ensuring that over the next 5 years, improvement continues and we are responsive to the board's stated interest in maintaining appropriate visibility into academic progress throughout the charter term. As staff, our goal is to support both the school's autonomy and the board's oversight responsibilities. Now, representatives from Vista Charter Public Schools are allotted equal time and opportunity, or 10 minutes, whichever is longer, to provide evidence and testimony responsive to the staff recommendations and findings. I invite the charter school representatives to the podium.
Good evening, President Barkey, members of the board. Dr. Bean, it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm Dr. Colin Felch, Superintendent of Vista Charter Public Schools. I want to briefly respond to the staff report and also share why I believe that you should approve Vista Condor for 5 years without conditions. But first, I do want to commend and thank the OCD staff for their hard work and diligence, and I truly appreciate our partnership for the better part of the last decade, which has always been around doing right by students. Speaking specifically regarding the staff report around measurable pupil outcomes and our English learner program, I can assure you that the work is already being done and will continue to be done with or without conditions. It is thoroughly embedded within Vista's strategic plan already. Our Vista staff has done incredible work building and sustaining the structures to support all of our students academically, accelerating learning, especially our English learner population, which is approximately half of our student population, ensuring that they receive high quality, integrated and designated English learner instruction in order to make sufficient progress towards reclassification. Now, Condor is a big green arrow pointing up. Our enrollment continues to increase. Our attendance and chronic absenteeism, which we talked about last month, are improving. Condor is also in a very strong position financially. Condor's math scores are increasing. ELA scores are increasing. Our English learners are continuing to grow. And our recent mid-year stakeholder survey feedback that we just received last week, all of our stakeholders are extremely satisfied, staff, students, and parents. The best is yet to come at Condor, and I look forward to your support approving Condor's renewal for 5 years without conditions, working together for our students, our community, and our parents. Thank you.
The hearing is now open for 15 minutes of public comments. Trustee Shaw, are there any speakers for this?
None. Okay.
The public comment period is now closed. The board has 3 options for action: approve the charter renewal, approve the charter renewal with conditions, or deny the charter renewal. President Barkey, I now close the public hearing and return the meeting to you.
Thank you, Araceli. Well, since there's no one to my left, I'm going to start to my right.
Okay, Colin, come on up.
And we do have other staff here if you have questions.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you want to bring other staff, that's fine too. If you want to bring the team up, that's fine. What I want to know is what are the specific plans to get those test scores above the state? The state numbers are already pretty abysmal, okay? And you guys are below the state numbers in both categories. When I look at the all students, even the all students, EL is a tougher nut to crack, but still, we want to support you, but you got to get those numbers up. So I want very specific strategies for how you plan to get those numbers up and really increase those scores.
Absolutely. So I can touch on that a little bit. I'd also like to invite up Ms. Amaya and Dr. Simmons, our Director of Instruction, and our Assistant Superintendent, because they're doing a lot of the work.
Yes.
And so we've done a number of things. We've adopted a brand new ELA curriculum that we believe is really raising rigor and going to help our students reach that level of proficiency. We also have done an entire assessment calendar, pacing plan, ensuring that all of our classes are maintaining that not only level of rigor, but also the pacing to make sure that all of the content is reached within the academic year.
Okay. So pacing meaning that you're hitting things at a certain time, or is that what you mean?
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
So at the end of the last school year, we implemented an organization-wide, we call it an assessment calendar, but it is a pacing guide that communicates to all stakeholders where students are supposed to be, because we want to ensure that they are exposed to grade level, rigorous instruction on a regular basis, and that if a curriculum has 5 units of instruction, that they're getting 5 units of instruction and that teachers are not getting stuck. So we've been following that. Our teachers have been following that very diligently. We just finished our second set of organization-wide structures where 100% of our English language arts teachers are using the new curriculum. And the month prior, we conducted math learning walkthroughs, and 100% of our teachers are using the curriculum as well. Approximately 80% of teachers are within the pacing where they need to be within 2 weeks, and the 20% that are not are within 3 to 5 weeks. So everyone in the whole organization was in the same unit, and then some are off by weeks. For all of our teachers, we did add also instructional coaches to our team this year, as well as our Director of Instruction, who has been supporting with instruction and student learning. And so all of our teachers have additional coaching support aside from coaching with their administrators. And then for our school leaders, we have gone through instructional leadership development this year. So our leaders are in the curriculum. They're learning it as well so that they can support teachers with coaching. They do conduct cycles of observation and coaching on a consistent basis. And just today, I was actually observing Mrs. Alessandro and Mrs. Balaman, the Condor leaders, not because of this, it just happened to fall on today, in their own coaching observations. So making sure that they're following the coaching protocol and providing them with feedback on how to make sure that they're giving teachers that just high level next step that's going to take their instruction to the next level. So there's a number of just very specific things that are in place. Our new ELA curriculum does have embedded curriculum for both designated and integrated ELD, as well as many cultural connections that are relevant to our students. That was part of the reason for adoption. And as you know, as global academies, we did want to take that into account when we selected our curriculum, that the literature, the stories, and the experiences, and what students are seeing in their texts as both mirrors and windows for them. So, yeah, there's been a lot. I can go on, but I don't know if you have other specific questions.
Well, the main specific question I have. Thank you for all of that. In terms of a timeline, like how long do you think these new implementation strategies would take for us to start to see some movement in the positive direction?
Well, we're hoping that this year, and we were very cautious of, we're very aware that going into a new implementation would also potentially have an implementation dip, but our diagnostic data from our iReady assessment showed growth in both math and ELA for Condor. So we're seeing that just the focus on instruction and the exposure to grade level content is actually benefiting our students, and we're seeing growth in both math and ELA.
And I think, we always talk about test scores, and those are very important, but I think just bringing that, that passion to the classroom. My experience is, you meet students where they are and you find creative ways to lift them up. And doing all of that should result, with the new curriculum and the new implementations, that should result in better test scores. Because if they're excited, they're gonna work harder, and they're gonna meet the level that you're pushing them toward. It's been my experience as an educator. Yep. And if you set the bar high, they're gonna reach it. Yep. But you got to set it. Yeah. Right.
And with regards to the survey that Dr. Felch was talking about, we did survey the teachers on if they feel supported and how they're feeling about the curriculum. The majority of the feedback was positive. A lot of teachers spoke to the structure of the curriculum and having the resources that they needed. And actually our coaches got a lot of praise in our survey for their support and, going through it along with the teachers.
Great. Well, we're here to support. We just want to, push. We want to help you with the push.
Yes, and we appreciate
to succeed. The push. And did you have anything to add?
Of course. Good evening. So in addition to everything that Karen just shared, I would also like to share that we have trained not only our teachers in ELD strategies, but also our para-educators. And we're now seeing the practice in the classroom as we're doing our observations. In addition, we're doing very strategic intervention support plans for students, working with our intervention specialist team, and also offering special sessions during breaks that are using our coach to model teaching practices, working with our para-educators, all supporting students in learning. And then lastly, in celebration, we had a board meeting I guess it was in January, where we celebrated our students' academic growth on their iReady diagnostics. And that was a huge celebration to help the whole community get behind, learning and, pushing in the academics.
Yeah, because it's for their own good and their success, right? Yep. Thank you. That's all I have for now.
Araceli, would you come on up too? So full disclosure to the public, Dr. Felch, good seeing you again. So I had a meeting with this team in January on this exact point, and it was, we had the meeting in the board room, and I expressed to Colin, I'm concerned about the test scores. I expressed to him that you are serving a constituency in Santa Ana, which is the area that I represent. Many of those kids do not have internet. They don't have Kumon. They don't have any other academic support structure. You are it, right? What you are going to give them is what they are going to graduate with, and have for the rest of their lives. So it is incredibly important to me that we get, these test scores. And to Dr. Felch's credit, but he did not dodge a question. He did not point fingers. He said, I am going to fix this. He brought his team. There was another gentleman there with glasses that was very impressive that told me he's going to fix it. So I'm satisfied that you guys get the importance of this issue. To Araceli, I just don't like using the word conditions. okay? I'm not ready to go there. As a business leader and owner, the first step is to tell somebody there's a problem, and then I got to give them time to fix it. As far as I know, the first person who spoke with this team was me in January, and I feel like they are moving forward towards fixing it. So I'm not prepared to ask this board to put a condition on this renewal, because I do think they are making changes. And I don't like the word conditions either. But sort of as a middle ground, okay, again, going back to the importance of this, can we do what's in section B anyway without calling it a condition?
So I want to be clear, Trustee Valdez and with the board, that we do oversight annually under the direction of the superintendent. We do annual visits, we do follow-up visits if those are necessary. Nothing that's in this report is a surprise to the school at all. They are very open and very honest with us when we go out, when we look at their test scores, when we ask questions about what they're doing, what they're putting in place. So there isn't anything new that we're hearing here. However, the board just doesn't have that. You get our annual reports at the end of every year. You can look through those to see what recommendations we've put into place. They always get recommendations. Whether they implement those or not is absolutely up to the school. But we do give recommendations to try to help them raise their scores. Now, recall, this school has had an 8-year charter term so far. So all 8 years, we have been monitoring their academics. We have been looking at their program. We have been questioning what they're doing and monitoring that. Their test scores have gone, up and down, but they've remained, they start pretty low, right? And so they do serve a very large EL population, which explains some of that, which is why we are so focused on their EL implementation, right, for their English language development, because we feel like that's going to raise all of the scores because that's such a huge population of students.
But the question I have for you is, can we ask them to do the things in section B, but I don't want to call it a condition?
We will continue to do our oversight and monitoring that we normally would do. If you want extra reporting to this board, if you want them to submit something extra, we can ask for that. It's just beyond what we typically would ask for.
You put a list together. I'd like to see them do the list, but I don't want to call it a condition.
What would you like to call it?
I just don't want to call it a condition. A condition is too much of a heavy hand.
I understand.
I'm not ready to do that.
Recommendations. We have some recommendations for other terminology. We have expectations, recommendations, terms of approval, or oversight provisions. I apologize.
Let's call it recommendations.
Of course. And would this board like those recommendations to be included in the agreement that is signed with the school?
I would not. I'd like it to be done without. I think it looks like a condition if we put a recommendation. I would like it to be a handshake, so to call, that we trust that they will do it and that we will help them.
I would like you guys to work together to do what's in B, okay? But I don't want to put it as a condition, and I don't want to put it in the contract. I'm not ready for that.
So I think, and I don't want to speak for the superintendent, who of course is who I work for, but if there are additional items that you would like for us to implement in our oversight, I think that's a conversation, obviously, with the superintendent on things that you would like us to augment. We do oversight for all of our schools. We try to be as fair and, as we can with everyone. And if someone needs additional oversight, we absolutely will put that in place as necessary. But if there are items that go beyond that, I think that would be a conversation with the superintendent. If the board is not comfortable with what we have, we definitely will continue to do our oversight, but that would not typically require an improvement plan for, you know what I mean? So there's certain things that may not have come into play without the visibility that the board wants.
I think we're delving into this a little bit too much at this point. The only thing I would ask this board for, and if everyone's okay with it, is I'm in favor of approving without conditions. I would like, per Mary's suggestion, I would like you guys to do what's in B, and we'll just call it a handshake tonight. I just don't feel like they've had enough time
When you say you guys, you're saying?
The charter unit and the school. I would like you to do what's in B, but I don't want to call it a condition. I don't want to put it in the contract yet. That's too much of a heavy hand.
My guess is you would do it anyway.
We do a lot of oversight regardless. That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes. But let's be clear, all of our schools and every school that's coming before this board for renewal in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, has had very long charter terms with a lot of oversight and a lot of recommendations. And so even though this may be the first time you have a conversation, I just want to be clear that this is not the first time a conversation has happened with this school.
And do you
Thank
share,
you so much.
Do you share, I'm sorry, I have a question. Do you share other success stories from other charter leaders? Because you're seeing all of them, the big umbrella, you're seeing all of them. And I think, everyone has something unique that they're bringing that's where they're succeeding at their own respective schools. We tour schools, but are you all touring each other's schools in the charter community? And maybe Javier would have an answer to that.
That's not our unit, but that might be something that they do with CCSA with each other.
I think we can learn best practices from each other, because I see, when I go to different schools, I see, oh, that's cool, that's cool.
So our oversight team is not just our charter unit. We take our content experts from the organization, and so there's a lot of resources put into these oversight visits. So we have EL specialists, we have disability, special ed specialists, we have, our facilities folks are there if they need to be. We have people who've looked at the LCAP. So there's a lot of knowledge in the room when we go out to do these visits. And so those best practices are absolutely shared. Again, with respecting the autonomy of the school.
Yes,
because whether they want to do that or not is completely up to the school. But all of those things are shared. But they're not only shared under the context of what are charter schools doing well, it's what is working in the educational field as a whole and what are best practices in the educational field. And so that is done. But again, just remembering that we do oversight, and so we are looking for areas of weakness more than areas of strength usually, where we can commend areas of strength and say, hey, keep that up.
Yeah.
A lot of it is us trying to be preventative or to try to figure out what could be strengthened, where do we have resources that might help them. And it may not necessarily be, hey, this charter school's doing this, you should try it. It's more, here's some things to look at, here's where we can provide support as a department, and them going to other charter schools is something that probably happens outside of our unit more than anything else.
So, Colin, how do you feel about my proposal? No conditions, but we're going to do Section B as a handshake tonight.
Like I said, we're doing it already, and we're going to continue to do it. And if the last 8 years and however long we've been working together are any indication, I'm a man of my word. Yeah. We're going to make it happen.
You are.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Dr. Felch, you mentioned your enrollment. Can you remind me what you're at and what you think you're going to go to?
Yeah, plus or minus a few students. I think we're at 375, and we're capped at with our building. Our charter could go up to 500, but between the elementary and the middle school, we can have up to 870 students. So we're probably looking at low to mid 400s as a capacity for Condor because of the building.
And you think you're on the upward slope of that?
Every single year in the last 8 years, we've gone up, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
Well, to me, it's always kind of the beauty of a charter school. There's no districts lines where you say anyone who lives in here is supposed to go to this school. They're just people are free to vote with their feet, as they say. And if you don't like the school, you don't send your kids there. It's really that simple. So the fact that you have a growing enrollment, to me, I'm kind of a free market guy, so I appreciate the fact that people are voting with their feet and saying, hey, this school is working for us. So I think that alone is a big testament to what's going on there.
Do you have anything? I know you weren't here from the beginning, but you're welcome to ask questions.
I'm aware of what's going on. Colin, when did I first vote to approve your school? What year was that?
2018.
2018. Yeah. And I think in the last 8 years, we've seen your school grow. You have challenges. I think you've done a very good job. You in particular is the leader that is so critical to the foundation of any charter school's leadership. And I think you've done an awesome job. Can we improve? Of course, we all can. We're all fallen human beings. We all have weaknesses. Every entity, organization has its challenges, but I fully support you. I was there in 2018 visiting your school, there to support you, and I will at this time too, and I will support option one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all you do. You have always been very responsive to whatever the need is. I've watched you really grow with that school from principal to superintendent, and you're just doing an amazing job. You've come a long way since I think I first visited your campus about 8 years ago when I first started on the board, and I remember when the backyard was auto shops, and now there's an amazing backyard. So it's come a long way. It's great to hear about how you're working to improve it, and you already are focused, and that doesn't surprise me at all. And I agree, for your students, community, and parents, I think the best is yet to come. And I would like to make a motion to approve renewal without conditions.
I'll second it.
Before we deal with that motion, can we modify it, Madam President, to approving without conditions, and we're going to recommend that the staff unit and Dr. Felch's school continue to address Section B of the staff report as a handshake.
I mean, I don't think that should be in the motion because we're not going to put that in writing. I think the handshake means we've all discussed it and it's going to happen, and I think we have to trust that.
All right.
Can I make a point of parliamentary?
Yes, we have to vote on the first one, then we...
Are you making a formal amendment to the primary? It's called a subsidiary, or you just...
I withdraw my comment. I don't... Let's just go forward.
So we have we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Araceli.
The board will now conduct a public hearing to grant or deny the material revision requested by Orange Springs Charter School that was submitted on January 14th. Orange Springs is a countywide charter school serving students in transitional kindergarten through grade 12, with one location within the boundaries of Santa Ana Unified School District. The school is requesting approval of a material revision to remove the 19% cap on enrollment for independent study, add an additional school site within the boundaries of Santa Ana Unified School District, and extend the implementation timeline for opening locations in Anaheim Elementary School District and Anaheim Union High School District to the 28-29 school year, and in Saddleback Valley Unified School District in the 29-30 school year. Staff reviewed the revised charter petition and determined that it meets the standards outlined in Education Code 47605 and recommend approval of the material revisions. Representatives from Orange Springs Charter Schools will now have up to 10 minutes to provide testimony regarding the proposed material revision. I invite the charter school representatives to the podium.
If I can just also note that they have sent in some documents. We emailed them to you, I think, yesterday, but you also have it in your folder, which I think was answering some of your questions from the last meeting.
Thank you, Renee. Well, hello, I'm Michelle Saponera from Springs Charter School. I'm Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, and I'm here with Dr. Vivian Price, who is our Assistant Superintendent of Education, as well as members of the team back there. We do not have another formal presentation for you. We did send a letter forward to clarify the respective roles of what each of the charters would offer. And we do thank the charter school unit for your recommendation and are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
The public hearing is now open for 15 minutes of comment. Trustee Shaw, are there any speakers for this item?
We have none.
None.
The public comment period is now closed. The board has 3 options for action: approve the material revision, approve the material revision with conditions, or deny the material revision. President Barkey, I now close the public hearing and return the meeting to you.
Thank you. Dr. Williams, I'll start with you.
Yes. Questions? Could you please review again the fiscal position of your school, your reserves, your budget?
We brought some experts with us, if you could join us at the podium. This is Assistant Superintendent, Fiscal Services, Tanya Rogers.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to say the budget we presented to you within this material revision is a very positive one with a ending fund balance that is able to support any economic uncertainties, and we're comfortable with how that's presented.
And what does that balance?
The balance varies from the first year around, I believe it is 3 to 4 million, and it eventually grows to the point where we're covering about anywhere from 20 to 40% of our total expenditures. So as a charter, you need to have that a little bit more robust than perhaps a district because of the simple fact that there aren't the same funding streams. So we always want to make sure that we're prepared for anything that is unknown. That's the one thing we know, there will be unknowns.
And for the record, what is your total budget?
The total budget is based on the enrollment. So as I look at that, for instance, I pulled it up on my phone here. A moment here. So for instance, year 2, which would be 26-27, we're looking at roughly a $12 million revenue stream.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'll move to the other end. Lisa?
I have no comments this time. Thank you.
George?
I have no concerns about this school.
Okay. Tim?
You had an excellent presentation last month.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that makes it really easy. I'd like to move to approve.
You want to make a motion?
Yes.
I was going to second your motion.
Okay. Oh, was that a motion?
Yes, that was a motion.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was a motion.
Okay, you can second this time.
Okay.
That's fine.
Second, with second, option 1.
Yes.
Option 1.
Yes. All right. Any discussion? Oh, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah. Yes, welcome back.
The next item before the board is a public hearing regarding the charter renewal petition submitted by Tomorrow's Leadership Collaborative, or TLC, along with the material revision request to eliminate grades 7 and 8 from the charter. TLC's charter's term expired on June 30th of 23. Pursuant to statutory extensions enacted in state law, the charter term has been extended through June 30th of 2026. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive information regarding the renewal petition and material revision request and to consider the level of public support for the school. TLC operates a TK through 6th grade charter school located in the city of Orange. Based on verified state performance data and applicable state criteria, TLC is identified as a low-performing charter school. Under Education Code Section 47607, renewal for a low-performing charter school is subject to a presumptive of denial unless the school demonstrates that it meets one of the statutory criteria for renewal. In making its determination, the board will consider verified academic performance data, the school's educational program, fiscal condition, governance practices, and compliance with applicable laws. At this time, charter school representatives will have up to 15 minutes to address the board. I invite the charter school representatives to come forward.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Can I click on here? I'm just checking. Okay, just checking. Good evening, President Barkey, trustees of the Orange County Board, Superintendent Dr. Bean, OCDE staff, friends and loved ones of TLC in the audience tonight. I believe our supporters include current TLC students, graduates, parents, staff, board members, partners, and friends. If you are with us from TLC, would you please just say hello to the OC board? Thank you so much for being here with us. My name is Dr. Jessica Tunney, and I am the executive director and founder of TLC. With me tonight to present is Ms. Marisol Leal, our principal extraordinaire for our school. We're going to go through a bunch of things for you this evening. I want to give an introduction to the school to provide context. Context for who we are, context for the performance scores that you have in front of you from the state dashboard, and context for the value that we offer to Orange County and the students and families in this community. So we'll go through what happened when we opened, where we're at, our improvement plan to make sure that our students are making adequate academic progress in all areas, and our request for approval for both our charter renewal and our material revision related to grade span. So TLC was founded in 2018, and we were launched really with a mission to advance inclusive education, knowledge, and practice, with a vision of school being a place where each student, every student, and all students are welcomed, who our learning needs are addressed, and have a place where they can belong. We were launched as the first program of its kind in Orange County, where students are 100% included in general education 100% of the time, regardless of the additional support needs that they have, the disabilities that they may have been diagnosed with, or the challenges that they face. We bring the services and supports to students rather than removing students from their opportunities to be and learn alongside their peers in general education. And the entire school is dedicated to making sure that we offer a learning environment that works for everyone. Because of that, when we launched the charter school, we also launched two kind of other arms of the organization. One is professional learning to help develop a workforce in Orange County capable of providing an inclusive educational experience for all students. And we also partner closely with universities and local nonprofits and national organizations for research and advocacy for inclusion. Here's TLC. We're a place where everyone is supposed to belong. Our instructional foundations include well-researched strategies and approaches of full inclusion with co-teaching and collaboration for every student and every child. We have an arts-enriched curriculum. Our instruction is based on universal design for learning principles and differentiated instruction to make sure every child has their individualized needs met within a culture and a school that really focuses on respect, kindness, care. We're capable of educating students that have faced a lot of barriers to learning and education. 24% of our students are identified with disabilities. They have IEPs. That asterisk is there because we skew towards the students with the most extensive and complex needs. Students that have communication needs, students that have needs for additional self-care support, students with very intensive learning challenges who often are not able to participate in general education at all. 81% of our students are identified as Hispanic Latino, 17% of our students are identified as English learners, all Spanish, and 72% of our learners are socioeconomically disadvantaged. By the numbers, we currently have 215 students enrolled at TLC, grades TK through 6. We represent 48 schools of residence in 15 districts across Orange County and also 2 abutting counties to us. We operate across 2 sites due to our expansion. Our initial site just has TK and kindergarten, and our district facility that we're able to lease offers enough space for our 1st through 6th graders. We brought, TLC's magic is really experienced when you're there. So we brought a very short video, it's about 2 minutes long, just to give those who have not been able to visit us on site yet an opportunity to meet our community. And I'd like to thank President Barkey for coming out a couple weeks ago to see TLC in action. I'm not sure how this wants me to play it, but I will try clicking. Haha, okay.
Something that makes TLC special is that the teachers are kind.
TLC is a special place because everybody knows and loves one another and looks out for each other, and I appreciate that.
Gosh, there's so many things. TLC is special because of community and love and a welcoming environment, supportive teachers. Everyone is so friendly and willing to accept everyone. So thankful for TLC.
I think TLC makes me happy.
What makes TLC special is that it's a place where everyone gets to grow and play and learn together all day, every day.
TLC gives me an opportunity to be a future teacher.
TLC, the teachers really care, and the energy is great here, and you could tell it's a community where the kids are really supported. So I love TLC. It's an awesome place.
TLC is a community that extends across the city of Orange.
What makes TLC special as a teacher is that we spend our days building everything around making sure that everyone feels special and included and happy and welcome here.
What's TLC special is friendship.
They can come and be themselves. They're not worried about being bullied. they can express themselves, whether it's in class with their friends. They're always smiling, they're laughing, and I think a child that smiles and laughs, that's their comfort, and that makes it home for me. So I'm happy.
Everyone is included, especially with kindness.
Siempre están al pendiente de los niños y están, los ayuda mucho.
It's a very nice place to learn, you know, about the stuff that you need to learn about.
If you want to really get a clear picture of what inclusion is, TLC is the place.
Hopefully someday you can visit us. If not, that'll do for now. Thanks, you guys. Okay. So I'm going to turn for a couple minutes to where we're at in terms of our impacts, our progress, and where our students are performing academically. Before I go to the next two slides that present our academic data, though, I do want to share with you impacts that the school makes that are not reflected in the state dashboard and not captured in state exams. We remain the first and the only option for families that would like their children to be fully included in Orange County and in the region. No other schools have a model like ours where students are offered opportunities to be in general education 100% of the time with the services and supports we need. For that reason, we're recognized locally and across the state. In fact, the Orange County Department of Education has named us one of 12 innovation schools in the high impact school designation this year, so that our model can be shared across the county with other schools looking to improve their inclusive practices. We are building a stronger workforce. We regularly educate and promote from within our own ranks and offer opportunities for student teachers to learn and gain credentials. We participate in research that results in publications in peer-reviewed journals and books and things like that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit about our academic performance so you can see who we are. We really hang our hats on growth. Most of our students enter this program in the upper grades, especially below benchmark. Our youngest learners enter not having been in any benchmark, but often face those barriers to progress that students in those subgroup categories that I shared often have. So what we're looking at here is our iReady data from 23-24 and 24-25, which are the 2 years that the dashboard designation, our tier status, are based upon. You can see that all students TK through 6th grade at our school take these exams fall, winter, and spring for our internal benchmarking and understanding of where they are so we can monitor their progress and growth. 23-24, both reading and math exceeded our targets. Reading significantly exceeded it with 113% growth. Math exceeded target with 92% growth. In 24-25, reading maintained significant exceeding of targets with 103% growth. And we did start to see a decline in math in 24-25, where our students that typically made excellent growth made 75% growth in that year. The CASP data reflects a similar decline in math. So what you see on the right side of the CASP data presented is that for a couple years in a row, our math scores for our 3rd through 6th grade students only, who are the ones who participate in the CASP testing, declined. Our ELA scores declined 1 of the 2 years for our 3rd through 6th graders, and that landed us in the low tier by state designation. Our chronic absenteeism rate had been on the decline from 21 when we came back, 21-22 when we came back to full in-person instruction, and it flatlined last year, which also impacted our designation on the state dashboard. What we saw then is that we're eligible for 2 years of renewal by the criteria that the state has laid out in legislation, and what we have for you is our improvement plan that we have developed and already implemented for math, for ELA, and chronic absenteeism. Our improvement plan began with a root cause analysis in all 3 of those areas to determine what was in the way for students, and some of it was conceptual understanding in math, some of it are the challenges that our community faces, some of it is absenteeism, that students aren't there to learn so they're not able to make the progress they need to. We developed our improvement strategies and implementation plan that's 3 years long. It starts this year and it continues during the 2 years of hopeful renewal, and we implemented it already with targets for all 3 areas: absenteeism, mathematics, and English language development. Ms. Leal is going to tell you a little bit about what we're finding already.
Thank you so much for having us, esteemed boards, members of the board, and for the opportunity to highlight our mid-year results of our improvement plan, especially on our focus areas of math, reading, and chronic absenteeism. What you have in front of you is again, we've worked really hard to, and we understand the urgency to address these areas. And as our executive director has mentioned, some of the measures don't necessarily match the population that we serve, but we understand the urgency to make those improvements. And to support growth in both math, we've focused on implementing a tiered approach, strengthening our universal supports instruction through our co-teaching model, as well as offering targeted small and individual intervention before, during, and after school to really make use of the entire school day, extending from 7:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon. So we really are working with all of our families and students. So as you can see from our mid-year data for math, we're showing already 67% of students meeting typical annual growth. This is scores that we received in January, so we're in a trajectory to meet our 75% of students meeting annual growth by the end of the school year. And part of what we attribute to that has been our introduction to new math curriculum, our work with OCDE as partners in training our teachers and really fortifying their knowledge so that it can extend to our students, and also partnering with families to host math family nights to really help build their capacity, support their children at home. So we're trying a multi-tiered approach, not just working with our students, but families, teachers, everyone as a whole. Similarly, with our data for ELA, we're showing already 30% proficiency. We're looking at really strengthening the proficiency of standards for our students in reading and writing. Our metric at the end of the year is 55%. So our students and teachers have really done the work to make sure that we get to those metrics, because again, we understand the urgency of improvement and part of why we are where we are. And again, this is attributed to an emphasis on our balanced literacy. From the pictures you see, the support we have for students with small groups, and also really leveraging on typical peer models and what that does for all students with disabilities, students with English language, with English or EL population, students with language needs as a whole, what that does for them. And then we also are working on making improvements to decrease our chronic absenteeism. We focused on leveraging our status as a community school and addressing barriers such as transportation. You see our Tortuga Express there to support families for having them come to school, and leveraging our community partnerships, offering mental health services, as well as our art and music program that really meant to want to have kids come to school, feel excited to come to school. And you're seeing early metrics as far as addressing. Right now, our attendance is at 95% and a projected chronic absenteeism at 11% presently. So you're seeing a huge decrease as we are right now. And again, here you also are seeing our mid-year growth as far as subgroups. So we are targeting those subgroups that you're seeing in typical measures through California dashboard. So our EL students are showing already 66% growth data in ELA, 57% in math. Our Hispanic and Latino students are, again, 66% in ELA and 66% growth already in math. So these are early metrics, and we're with the plan that we have in place, we are seeing the potential to meet and go beyond that, as well as our students socially, economically disadvantaged, 60% meeting growth in ELA, 59% in math, and our students with disabilities, again, showing 30% of progress towards annual growth and 40% in math. And keep in mind that a lot of our students that we do serve don't often take actual or typical measures. We're looking at alternative measures that we work with. We're looking at functional areas of growth. So our areas of looking at growth for our students with disabilities, this is only one point. We look at how they're, and you're gonna get an opportunity to see some of our alumni and some of our kids, and you're gonna see the growth from seeing kids that are unable to speak to where they are now. I'll show that, but you want to. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
The public hearing is now open. Members of the public will have up to 15 minutes to collectively provide comment. Trustee Shaw, please call for the first speaker.
Okay, I think we have 10, so we're gonna just do, we have 15 minutes? Okay, so aim for a minute, a touch over. So I'll call one name and who's on deck. So we'll start with Roddy, followed by Kelly. 1 minute, one and a half, okay.
Good evening, President Barkey, members of the board, and Superintendent Bean. My name is Ronnie Gomez, and I am the board chair for TLC. Our board is composed of experienced professionals in education, finance, nonprofit leadership, and community engagement. Collectively, we bring deep roots to Orange County and a passionate desire to serve the students and families of TLC. We are an active board, a hands-on board, and we're committed to accountability and to student success. To that end, I want to briefly address the academic performance metrics discussed by our executive director. As a board, we recognize that our dashboard results are not where we want them to be. We take that seriously. The board receives detailed monthly reports on student achievement, attendance, interventions, and instructional improvements. We are not ignoring the data, we are confronting it head on. And we are doing it with urgency and transparency. At the same time, though, those metrics do not fully reflect the value that TLC provides. TLC was founded to model true inclusion. We serve students who often struggle in traditional settings and provide a learning environment where students with and without disabilities learn together with meaningful supports. We leverage evidence-based practices, individualized learning plans, and strong family partnerships. For many of our families, TLC is the place where their child is finally seen, supported, and able to grow. We are committed to improving outcomes while preserving a school that fills a critical need in this community. And this is a need that TLC is uniquely positioned to fill. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
So Kelly will be followed by Richard.
Hello, my name is Kelly Martinez, and my son, Luca, is a kindergartner at TLC. When the school year started, I unfortunately found myself and my 2 children homeless. The first few weeks of kindergarten, we were jumping from hotel to hotel while looking for shelters to stay in. This was one of the scariest things I have ever been through, and I honestly don't think I would have gotten through it without the support from our school. I don't have much family to lean on in situations like this, and TLC quickly jumped in to help. Despite our situation, my son still wanted to be at school every day to see not only his friends, but his teacher, and he was still eager to learn. When I seen that with my own eyes, I knew TLC was more than just a school to us. They are my son's safe place and second home. Miss Jessica literally held my hand throughout the entire process of us finding a place to live. She provided me with so many resources that I had no idea about. His teacher, Miss Fierro, quickly stepped in and gave him the extra love and support on the days when she knew I wasn't able to because of all the stress we were under. For me as a parent, there are not enough words to describe how meaningful this school is for my son and hopefully one day my daughter. Over the last 2 years, I have watched him thrive in academics. I have also seen him personally form more and more with how much room this school gives him to express himself with different outlets such as art and music class. Before I close out, I just wanted to share a painting that he made to express his love for TLC.
Richard will be followed by Sandra. Come over, quick.
Hi everyone, my name is Stella Hare. I went to TLC from 1st grade to 6th grade. Now I am 14 years old, and in 8th grade I was Somerset School in Little Bayhole. I brought my dad tonight to share about the TLC.
Thanks for the opportunity to share tonight. When we heard about a charter school that had an integrated special needs curriculum, my wife and I were hooked immediately. My wife, Monique, got us onto the waiting list, and it wasn't long until we knew Stella would be able to attend. The idea of a fully integrated school, and it is everything that has been described tonight, I can attest to that, we were hooked immediately, and the idea that she would be fully integrated for all of grade school was incredible. The staff and teachers are amazing, personal, kind, engaging. They always motivated Stella to do her very best, and Stella would cry if she couldn't attend school for even one day during her time there due to sickness or otherwise. The program includes weekly art class, music, which both set Stella on a path to continuing to be involved in painting with art lessons, music, piano lessons, and all the academic studies were incredible, and we were only disappointed that we couldn't go to 7th and 8th grade at TLC.
Stella, you did a terrific job.
Yes.
All right, Sandra will be followed by Micah.
Okay, my name is Sandra. I am a paraprofessional at TLC. My journey at TLC began almost 5 years ago. Working at TLC, my idea of what inclusion looked like completely changed. The collaboration that happens between gen ed teachers, sped teachers, paras to ensure all students are included every single day is what I call God's work. At TLC, students learn early on to support each other, be kind to each other, and grow an understanding of what inclusion is. Where others see a disability, at TLC, we see a smiling face. At TLC, students are not separated from their typical peers, and I have seen firsthand these students thrive surrounded by their typical peers. TLC is a safe haven for students and families who struggle being accepted at a school because of their disability. Today, I am also the parent of a student in the 1st grade at TLC. His name is Ivan. I attended a school in this district, and my daughter attends a school in this district. We had no problem attending these schools, but when it came to Ivan, who at the time had a severe speech delay and some sensory issues, it became a problem. The daily phone calls and constant harassment I received from his then kindergarten teacher really took a toll on me mentally and physically. As a parent, you never want your child treated differently. I'm no doctor, but something is definitely wrong with him, were the exact words his teacher said to me. I refused to give up on Ivan because I knew the potential he had. I attended all the meetings, I spoke to all the right people, but I didn't feel like we were getting the help we needed. Finally, I decided to pull him from that school and brought him over to TLC.
All right. Micah will be followed by Kelly.
Hello, my name is Micah, and I am I'm a former student at TLC, and I started in the 1st grade and graduated in the 6th grade. I am a student now at Samuel A. Academy, where I've learned many new things. However, in TLC, it helped me follow up with it, and it helped me a lot. There are a lot of very unique things about TLC. One of the very unique features that stood out to me was that they were very inclusive, including that they would make everybody feel equal about each other. TLC is important to me because they helped me get to where I am today, like I said earlier, and they had the same and they have one of the biggest impacts on my whole entire life. My brother is here too to talk about our TLC.
Hi everyone, my name is Madden and I am in the 6th grade at TLC. I've been at this school since kindergarten, so it's like a second home to me. I'm really proud to be here today because I want to tell you why TLC means so much to me. TLC is special because it's the one place where I've always felt accepted for who I am. The teachers don't teach us, they treat every student with respect and kindness. No one is left out. No one is treated differently. One of the biggest reasons my school matters is that it's truly inclusive.
All right. You guys did a good job. Kelly will be followed by Nikki.
Hello, I'm Kelly Rain Gross, and I'm the parent of 2 TLC students. When we decided to move back to California, we began looking for an inclusive school program that utilizes a universal design for learning framework. While we knew we wanted to land back in Southern California, we hadn't settled on a place to live until we found and were accepted into TLC. That made the decision for us to move our home and our business to Orange County. Both children have been welcomed, are learning and growing, and are very happy at TLC. When we went through our son's initial IEP process at TLC, the process was extremely collaborative. Our son has significant expressive language delays that inhibit his ability to demonstrate his knowledge via traditional testing measures. Yet TLC is working to ensure he has access to grade level curriculum within the general education setting with a clear and undeniable mission of inclusion for all. Both of our children look forward to seeing their peers and teachers every day and are gaining knowledge and fluency with both academics and social skills. Our daughter received an award last week for exceeding math expectations currently. They both feel safe and cared for by their teachers and staff, which is extremely valuable for building a strong sense of self-esteem and self-confidence. The TLC team clearly values parents' insights and demonstrates sincere intention to support students of all abilities within their program. This is something that few schools do effectively, and we're grateful to have found a school that includes the entire family. Thank you.
Thank you. Nikki, followed by Valentina.
Hello, my name is Nikki Ford, and my son is in his second year at TLC Charter School. I want to share how the inclusive model at TLC has led to the incredible social and academic progress I've seen in my son. My son receives speech and occupational therapy. At our last school, progress was slow. His therapists were overwhelmed with heavy caseloads, and our IEP meetings were stressful and impersonal, like they were just going through the motions without really knowing or understanding my son. Our experience at TLC has been the complete opposite. Since starting at this school, I've seen my son blossom. The co-teaching model and small class sizes mean he gets a lot of one-on-one support. The push-in model used for his therapies allows him to learn alongside his peers without feeling singled out. And our IEP meetings feel much more collaborative, like a team working together in his best interest. What I love the most about TLC is that they focus on each child's strengths and how to help them grow without changing who they are. I've seen so much progress not only in my son's speech and motor skills, but in his confidence, his friendships, and his love of learning. TLC is 45 minutes away from my house. We make that round trip drive twice a day, 5 days a week. The commute is rough, but it's worth it to us because there are no other options like this in our area. TLC gives my son the opportunity to truly thrive, and that is why I respectfully urge you to renew its charter so children like my son can continue to have this option. Thank you.
Valentina, followed by Vivian.
Good evening. My name is Valentina Wilson, and I am the proud parent of a graduate and current student at TLC. My son Johnny, who has Down syndrome, graduated last year, and Bodhi is currently in 5th grade. I'm here tonight because TLC has made an incredible impact on our family. Johnny's disability requires extensive supports and services through his IEP in order to be successful at school. This usually means being segregated to a special day class where he doesn't get the fully inclusive environment. We tried full inclusion at his local public school, and it was kind of like fitting a square peg in a round hole. Not only was his team frustrated and unhappy, but so was Johnny. When I enrolled both boys in TLC, Johnny was almost immediately a different kid. He went from yelling no and needing to be pulled into school by me every morning to being excited, independently walking into TLC and waving and high-fiving to his new friends along the way. It was amazing to see, and I could tell that Johnny knew he was where he belonged. My son Bodhi, who has no disability, is also thriving. He recently received an award for reading, and he excels in all of his subjects. He also is surrounded by friends every day who look, talk, and learn differently than he does, and he loves them all. Inclusion seems so simple and right, yet seems to be such a challenge to execute for some schools. TLC has truly mastered what it means to create that environment. It is a beautiful school filled with staff who are committed to loving and meeting every single child where they are at, and I am eternally grateful for the time my boys have had to spend there. This school is an incredible gift to the community and shows the world that all students can learn together.
Vivian, followed by Karina.
Hello, my name is Vivian Saldine, and I am in 3rd grade at TLC. I have been going to TLC since TK, and I have always loved it. I think TLC should definitely be renewed so I can finish my elementary schooling there. Plus, I love how all the students and the teachers are really nice. They make sure all the students are included in everything no matter what. The students are very nice, and I have made some good friends at TLC. Everyone there is inclusive and nice, and there isn't any bullying from students or teachers. They also have some yummy food sometimes. Thank you.
So I'm her mom. I also have another daughter that's been there since kindergarten. Neither of my girls have an IEP, but I've been getting emotional this whole time. I cannot tell you how much I love TLC, how much like their inclusion model means the world to me that my girls can grow up in this normalcy and showing how it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, your learning speed, disability or no, that we can all be together in a community. And I wrote you guys a letter as well because this school means so much to me. And I really do want Viv to get through 6th grade there just like my older daughter did. So thank you very much.
And Karina.
My name is Karina. I am a TLC mom of 4 children currently enrolled in the TLC program. I am here today because TLC has become an important part of our family education and our community. I want to take this opportunity to share why this school means so much to my family and why I strongly support the renewal. TLC offers something that cannot always be measured by test scores. It provides a safe environment, dedicated teachers, and a strong sense of community between families, students, and staff. The staff focuses not only on academics, but also on building confidence, curiosity, and the love of learning. These qualities help children grow into capable and motivated students. Every child learns differently, and TLC provides an important educational option for families who are looking for a more interactive and engaging way for children to learn. Programs like TLC help encourage that family, ensure the families of Orange County have choices when it comes to finding the best environment for their children. For families like mine, TLC is more than just a school. It's a community that supports our children and helps them grow academically and personally. I respectfully ask you to renew TLC charter so that current and future students can continue benefiting from this program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know we have the time period for comments, and there's a lot of you here, and I know a lot of you didn't speak, but you're always free and welcome to email us or write us letters and in advance, and we will read those. But there's nothing stopping you from doing that if you'd like to give more comment, because I know we only have that limited time. So feel free to do that and in the future as well.
The public comment period is now closed. The staff report will be published by March 24th, and the board will take action on April 8th. President Barkey, this concludes the public hearing, and I return the meeting to you.
Thank you so much. I'll go ahead this time, and I'll start with Tim, and we'll go that way.
Well, my comment is, I have a wife who's a special ed teacher and a son with autism. So it was very touching to me hearing about your school. And I don't want anyone to leave without, I want to give someone my business card because I'm very much interested in visiting the school in person.
George?
Ms. Tenney, would you come on up?
Yes.
I have a sincere question, but before I ask it, I want to tell you a little bit about myself.
Okay.
So I have 4 kids, 2 sons. My older son is 22. My younger son is 8. So I got married again.
Okay.
Okay, and I had,
like, wow.
I had twins.
Okay.
My older son is significantly autistic.
Mm-hmm.
When he tested on the, his test scores all through elementary, middle school, high school, he was significantly below grade level. So, years below his current grade level. My younger son is in 3rd grade and testing right now at the beginning of 6th.
Okay.
So the 2 boys could not be any different. When I think back to where my older son was and my younger son was,
Mm-hmm.
It's just light years different. And so, sincere question.
Mm-hmm.
How could you teach a boy like my older son in a neurotypical class?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how you can do that. Can you explain that to me?
Yes, I'm thrilled that you asked that also. That's what I think about all day, every day, and that's what our staff collaborates about before school, after school, during school, and on workshops. So there are a few ways. The foundation of it is to start with the mindset that every child is a child that belongs in the classroom, because the learners in the room are the learners that we teach. And so what the teachers start with is the understanding that each child can learn, that each child has a pathway to learning, and each child has unique interests, strengths, features that are important to address. So you kind of let go right off the bat of teaching to the supposed middle or the average. In many schools, the approach is to start with like, okay, here's the lesson, like the lesson is a thing that exists. We give it to the students. Some students already knew it. Don't worry too much about that often. Some students are like getting it, okay. Some students don't get it, give them some extra practice, and if they still don't get it, maybe they should go into a different setting. Our teachers start with a learning goal and a learning concept that's standards-based in the state of California. We use materials that are well-researched to be universally designed, so like as maximally accessible as possible. And then we recognize that some people, nonetheless, with all these pathways of active learning, engaged activities, I could talk for way too long about the differentiated instructional strategies that they begin with. Some students still need additional accommodations and modifications to the curriculum to be able to engage. And so in our daily debriefs after school and our weekly co-planning structures that the teachers engage in, special education teachers and general education teachers meet together and say, hey, here's this lesson on multi-digit multiplication in 4th grade and 5th grade. What are we going to do for the person that's working on basic number sense? And they look to the other strategies for inclusion that exist, such as peer support opportunities, such as hands-on learning opportunities that allow them to plan for the student that has a goal of identifying a number and making sure that they have the correct number of objects to match it, is able to learn side by side and in partnership with a child who might be looking at the algorithm for multi-step multiplication. Those strategies are labor intensive and frankly speaking sometimes tedious to plan through. The teachers, I think, can attest how much time you spend working on that, but the outcome is actually quite magical. The students in the classroom start to develop an understanding that they can help each other and learn from each other. And so the students that need additional or different kinds of support get those supports from multiple sources, sometimes directly from the teacher, sometimes from a specialist, sometimes from a friend, sometimes from a peer, and it makes the learning more efficient and effective. I encourage you to visit us too, so you can see what it looks like in person. There's a lot of research that kind of speaks to it as well, but it really starts with the mindset that every learner in the room belongs in the room. And we meet them where they're at, and we use the strategies that are at the ready. There's all kinds of new individualized learning tech tools that we employ, things like that. Does that start to answer?
So I'm guessing that the classrooms that you have multiple teachers in the same room.
So yeah, often they do. So our structure is, it's a co-teaching model. So there's 2 teachers assigned to every classroom. There's a general education teacher who's in the classroom physically all day, every day as teacher of record, because we need that. And then there's an education specialist who shares 2 or 3 classrooms. The education specialist co-plans with the gen ed teacher to make sure that what the students are working on throughout the day are aligned with their IEP goals and use the knowledge of the education specialist for how to adjust learning to the learner. And then they're physically in the classroom with the general education teacher, about 1 learning block a day, sometimes between an hour or 2 in each of their classrooms. We're also really strategic with how we assign our paraeducator support staff. So rather than assigning an individual to a child, we assign enough adults in the room to meet the needs of all learners in the room. So like Ms. Sandra came up here and spoke, she's actually quite expert and one of our lead paras and a parent at TLC. She'll often work with a group of students, some of whom have identified disabilities, some not, to get them going and engaged in the content and with each other, and then she backs away. So we leverage the adults in the room. We often do have more than one, but it's not like a whole bunch of teachers necessarily. You might see a speech pathologist in the room, student teachers in the room, interns in the room, paras in the room, gen ed and sped.
I commend you for taking this approach, and I'll be honest with you because I'm just brutally honest.
Sure.
I don't understand this, but I don't need to. I believe, I'm not an educator by trade. Okay. So I don't need to understand this. I believe that parents know, what's best for their own kids, and you got a lot of parents here.
Yes.
Clearly, you have a school that you have the support of your parents. I'm very likely going to be supportive of this, despite the test scores.
Yes.
Because I believe in parent choice first. So, but this is tough for me to understand. But
I hear you loud and clear. That's why we're here, by the way, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's why we're here, is to be a model site so people can understand what it is that's advocated in research and policy.
Anyway, I commend you for what you do.
Thank you.
My turn. I think what you all are doing is phenomenal. I am an educator, and I understand what you're attempting to do in succeeding in this model that is just incredible. It's incredible what you're providing to the community. And I thank you all the parents and students who came out tonight and share your stories. That's so, so important that the community hears your experiences, and that many of you are driving, you're going where you need to go to get the right education for your child. And that's amazing. And I'm so impressed with all of you that you do that every day, okay, first of all, and that you're bringing your stories for us to hear, but also the greater community to hear. And I am 100% supportive of what you all are doing, and I know that you're as creative as possible and always thinking about how you can get the test scores above. But I agree that sometimes it is more than test scores. That's not the only variable that we're looking at. I get that as an educator. I still, like you, I would still want to continue to try to improve and still be as innovative as possible. And how can we reach those students where they are, find ways to lift them up.
Yes.
And it's going to happen.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Williams?
Jessica, you are a strong leader. You're passionate, you're dedicated, and your dedication leadership is really moving your school forward. Just a couple reflections on the people who talked. Let me congratulate Rodney. Thank you for coming. We rarely have boards members, especially you're the chairman, come here and speak to us, and that's wonderful because that tells us how dedicated your support system is.
Yes.
Because you need that balance with the board to help you do things, and
Yes.
I'm quite impressed that you're here, and yeah, wonderful. Kelly, where are you, Kelly?
There's two Kellys.
Oh,
Kelly,
there's
my
Kelly.
son.
Yes. Your
And
story
Grace.
is so impactful. I shed a few tears. The fact that you were homeless going from hotel to hotel and found Jessica in TLC, that is an amazing story that needs to be told over and over. Don't give up hope. I'm so happy you found a family here. And you touch my life. Thank you for sharing your story. That takes a lot of strength to do that. And to Stella and Richard, I don't.
I think they. Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you for being a great dad to Stella. All our children need great fathers, and you are a great father. We can tell that. And thank you for having Stella share with us a little bit about her experience. And I could go on with everybody who talked. Sandra, Micah, where are you? Okay, and that's your brother? Mom, you have an amazing two sons there. I'm just so impressed. Micah's going to be a star someday, maybe a state senator or U.S. senator. He's very eloquent in speech, very mature. I'm very impressed. And he came from your school.
Yeah, and he's at Samuel Academy, one of my favorites.
Wow, yeah. And I can go on with Kelly, your story, Nikki, Valentino, Vivian, and Karina. I take notes because everything you're doing is very impactful, and you're impact in Orange County is great, and I just pray that you'll just grow
Thank you.
and become a greater impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Appreciate that.
Well, yes, I agree with everything Ken said. I had tears also when you came up, Kelly, and I think I would feel a lot more like George if I hadn't just been there last week or the week before. It was during rainy season I was there, and it was just amazing. Just I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. What you are doing is so impactful. It's so unbelievable. I know that some of the kids there wouldn't even be in school if it wasn't for you, and it's just such a tremendous opportunity and service that you bring to Orange County families. It's there's nothing like it, and I would encourage all of my colleagues to go. It's pretty incredible.
I did a flyby. I did a flyby last week, but I want to come back. So I got some mini vibes, but I want to come back when I have a little more time.
Yep, I got to go into several classrooms. I think every grade.
I feel it on the site too. You did.
Yeah, and it was amazing. It was I could have spent all day there, but I really have to commend you, and I'm so grateful that you're in Orange County and so happy that your parents have such an amazing place to go. And I can tell how supportive they are, that they are all here. I know that just limited spoke, but I know that you have great support at your school. So thank you for everything you do, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in a month.
Yes, me as well. Thank you. Go TLC.
We'll now open a public hearing on the material revision request submitted by Orange County Workforce Innovation High School. Orange County Workforce Innovation High is a county-wide charter school serving students in grades 9 through 12 with one location in Anaheim. The school is requesting approval of a material revision to add a facility within the boundaries of Garden Grove Unified School District at 7075 New Hope Street in Fountain Valley. The public hearing is being held pursuant to Education Code Section 47605.6 to consider the level of support for the proposed material revision. Representatives from the charter school will now have up to 10 minutes to provide testimony regarding the proposed material revision. I now invite charter school representatives to the podium.
Good evening. I won't be offended that the whole crowd just
It's been a long night.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
No, my name is Corinne Manley.
We're here for you. That's what's important.
My name is Corinne Manley. I am the area superintendent with Orange County Workforce Innovation High School. Thank you for having us here tonight. We know it's a long agenda, a lot of important things tonight, and it's amazing to follow TLC and all the work they're doing. So we are here tonight to present a material revision in hopes of adding a resource center to our current program. So a little reminder, is it the mouse? There you go. A little reminder of who we are. We were originally chartered in 2016. We serve grades 9 through 12, ages 14 through 24. We're non-classroom based, so we work a lot one-on-one with our students and small group instruction with our students, and we qualify for dashboard alternative school status, which means we serve a high needs population, highly mobile, highly transient, most of our students behind on credits, pregnant parenting. They, have all those barriers against them that kind of make it difficult for our students to sometimes graduate. So we are there to really scoop them up and provide an alternative program for our students to get them past that finish line. So our current location is in Anaheim, and we are serving approximately 250 students, and we are hoping to add an additional resource center in Fountain Valley. There we go. I know you know Orange County, so, but just a little visual there. We are currently at our Anaheim location off of the 5 in Euclid, and we are looking at a location in Fountain Valley that's really nicely centrally located near public transportation, It's near the Social Security office and Coastline College. And really the goal is just to serve those really high needs students who need our type of program closer to where they live. So why Fountain Valley? We were very intentional as to why Fountain Valley. You know, we know there are so many schools and so many amazing options for our families, but what we saw with Fountain Valley, and after consulting with a lot of different kind of stakeholders, we saw that Fountain Valley could really utilize a program like ours, an alternative program like ours. And really our goal is always to go where the students are, to remove those barriers, and to be able to serve our students better. So we see it as reducing travel barriers, being more accessible in that side of town, and aligning with our really high needs student population. We serve 40% of our students are adults, and so being in another part of the county and being part of the, you know, near the transportation locales is important for us. So we feel like it would align with our program well. And again, we are not changing our program. It's just an additional resource center. So we have currently about 30 students that live more closely to Fountain Valley who are driving all the way to Anaheim. So we would, you know, assume that those kids would be able to relocate over to the Fountain Valley location, and then all of the other structures that we have in place tap into our existing staff until we grow. And be able to provide all of those community resources that are built within our program, continue to provide them at the Fountain Valley location as well. And that's about it. Happy to answer any questions.
The public hearing is now open for 15 minutes of public comment. Trustee Shaw, are there any speakers for this item?
No.
Okay, this concludes the public hearing. The staff report will be published by March 24th, and the board will take action on April 8th. Trustee Barkey, I now close the public hearing and return the meeting to you.
Thank you, Araceli. I'm going to start with you this time, George. You looked anxious, and I haven't started with you.
Would you come back up? What was your name again? Corinne Manley. So I guess the first question I noticed, perhaps it was, well, you said it's non-classroom based.
Correct.
But you're based in Anaheim, and then you want another location in Fountain Valley. So these aren't classrooms. This is like a resource center that you're looking for?
Resource center, yeah. So our students come multiple times a week, 2 to 3 times a week for a couple hours at a time, typically. And
what does a resource center look like?
So it's almost a very large classroom area with teacher desks all throughout, and our students surrounding the teachers. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So our students work one-on-one with their highly qualified teachers. They go and they work independently on their work, get help. We have free tutors. We have.
So it is partially classroom based.
It's not a big instruction going on, right? It's a workplace. So it's almost, think of like a library almost. You go and you're working independently on your own work, and you have wonderful people there to help when you have questions or need guidance. We do have some, small group instruction as needed. If there's students who are taking the same English course or math course, may work together.
I get it. Yeah. Okay. So do you anticipate that your enrollment is going to go up with this new resource center?
We do. That's what we would hope for, is more than just those 30 kids moving over, but to have another resource of 100 kids or so, potentially.
If there's 100 new kids, would that require another material revision on your part?
No.
Because how much are you authorized? How many kids are you authorized to teach?
I'm not sure we have what that max number is, but I will look at that. Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Sparks, just one thing, to me, when I've been there, I've been to the Anaheim location, I almost think of it like a tutoring hub, like someplace where you go for after-school help, and there's people to help you, like you say, groups, and I think, Lisa, you've been there with me, and I think Tim as well is,
I think it's another really cool model, like
Yeah,
a different
it
model
is.
than
It
the
is.
other school, but a
Yeah,
really cool model
it is.
that
Yeah.
serves, really serves our community in a different way. I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have any other questions?
I don't.
or- Okay.
That was all.
I'm just sad you're going to leave the Euclids.
We're not leaving.
You're-
They're just expanding.
You're expanding, okay,
Yes.
I want to make sure. I thought we said that you wouldn't have to,
I think some kids are going to move, is all.
Yeah, we're looking at potentially eventually needing to move the Euclid space in Anaheim, but we're not there yet because they're selling the building. So it's something we're aware of, but we're not being kicked out yet, and there's no end in sight. Knock on wood. That we love that location. So for the time being, we are there.
so I live in La Habra and I work in Anaheim. So I go down Euclid and I
Yes.
wave to you every
thank
day.
you.
And you don't even know it.
Anything else?
No, it is a beautiful model. If
Yeah.
for those who don't know, I mean,
Yes, please come visit. if you
making
haven't
sure people get their high school diploma. They might have a situation, they're pregnant or something that's
Yes.
going on that's maybe not the ideal situation, but helping to make sure they finish a high school diploma. I mean, it's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Dr. Williams?
So when did we approve your charter?
2016.
2016, okay. And how many students do you have now?
250.
250.
And it fluctuates, give or take, but we do fluctuate since we're a year-round program and we enroll students every week. So
Okay, and what is your budget? What does that look like?
Gita, do you want to come up with budget stuff? This is Gita Sharifi, our CFO.
Hi, my name is Geeta Sharifi. I'm the CFO. So the budget is for 26-27 is projected to have a revenue of $7.6 million.
And what's your ending balance of unrestricted
Um,
reserves?
So for the net surplus at the end of the year is 116,000.
116,000, okay. What is your current reserves? What do you have in the bank?
About 1.6 million. Yeah, it's pretty healthy, and that's what the board has approved to maintain.
How many people do you have on your board?
About five.
How often do you meet?
Every month, because I have to report to the board. Almost, I think.
Very good, that's all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming tonight. I have been to Anaheim, and I'm super excited about Fountain Valley and just providing easier opportunity, because I know some kids have trouble getting to school, and that's why they're still there. And so I think as few barriers as we can have to get them there is great. And I just think it's like Dr. Sparks said, it's a wonderful model, and that's what school choice is about, is having different models for different kids who learn differently. So thank you for what you do, and look forward to seeing you back.
Yes, thank you.
And welcome, Jody. Nice to see you as well, hiding there in the back. All right, so I think we're concluded now with our charter schools for the evening. It's been fun, and thank you all for those who are still here, who have been here, and those who are maybe watching from home or left early, but we appreciate everyone being here. It's been a long night, but it's been very interesting with different models, and that's what the charters are all about, is different ways of learning. So appreciate everyone being here. So next we will move to board recommendations. And number 13. Dr. Sparks?
Yes, very, very quick, very quick. The original date was right along the July 4th holiday. So whenever it falls like that, we often move the July date to after the holiday. And so that's what I'm proposing, to move it to July 8th.
Okay, and that's fine with me. Does anyone have any problem with moving it from July 1 to July
I am going to be out of state for both days, so it doesn't matter to me.
So you don't get to vote.
I'm going to be doing that one
Okay.
remotely. So
Okay, so either way. And Mr. Shaw?
It works for me.
Dr. Williams?
Is that a formal motion just for parliamentary purposes?
I believe it is a formal motion.
It's an action item.
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay,
it
so
is.
it's a motion, okay.
Yes. And go ahead, you second?
I'll
Perfect,
second it,
okay.
yeah.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, passes 5-0. Very
Happy
good.
4th of July.
Yeah, nice. I love these very easy motions. Next, we have Mr. Valdez for number 14 and grade inflation.
So I frequently use my Instagram account, and there was a video that came up regarding some findings over at UC San Diego. And I thought it was important, I think, for the public to see it. So, Renee, I'm going to ask that video be played.
Will the University of California system reinstate SAT, ACT requirements after the recent math debacle at UC San Diego? Let's talk about it. Late last year, UC San Diego released a report saying that there's been a 30-fold increase in the number of their incoming freshmen that require remedial math courses. We're talking UC San Diego freshmen with perfect 4.0 math GPAs who cannot tackle high school math, and a large number cannot tackle middle school math. But the reasons for this math decline, and amongst them are grade inflation and the UC system's elimination of standardized testing requirements. UC San Diego said that the math section of the SAT, for example, could be used as a diagnostic signal of basic quantitative ability. And the UC system decided to go test blind, meaning that it didn't even allow students the option of sending SAT scores. It actually acted against the recommendations of an academic advisory group. The UC Academic Senate, which is a representative body of faculty, had voted 51-0 in favor of restoring the SATs as part of the admissions criteria. The Board of Regents overrode those recommendations and decided to eliminate testing requirements. There's research that indicates that students that do well on the SAT come from privileged, wealthy backgrounds. And that could be because students can afford to do test prep. However, schools that have reinstated their SAT requirements after having gone test optional during the pandemic cite research that indicates a student's SAT scores are a better indicator of the student's ability to succeed on campus than a GPA. And part of that is due to grade inflation, where students are able to get 4.0s without really having the commensurate abilities in those academic subjects. What's interesting is when MIT reinstated standardized testing requirements, it said that this actually helped disadvantaged students. Students from under-resourced school systems may not have the option to take AP math classes, but these students can demonstrate their math skills via a strong SAT score. And MIT argues that there are enough free tutoring services like the Khan Academy, so there's not as much differentiation between the wealthy and the poor when it comes to support. UC San Diego has indicated that maybe a math placement test before students come onto campus may be beneficial in terms of weeding out students that have poor math skills. Is that one step closer to the UC system reinstating the SAT? Let's wait and see. Follow me for more news and for more tips.
So, Madam President, I saw that video and it was so shocking to me that I just felt that the public in general needed to see that, which is why that I asked for it to be played. Regarding grade inflation, I remember when we were interviewing superintendents, and we were all limited to basically one question. And I said, what was the most important issue that, I felt was the issue of grade inflation? So that was my question. And I noticed it, I knew at the time, quite frankly, that if you eliminate the SATs for colleges, and we have grade inflation going on in major U.S. cities in California, something like this would happen. So, quite frankly, I knew this would happen, but I thought, like I said, I saw this video. I thought it was important enough that the public see it. My comments on this are, to the staff, to our superintendent, who I know answered that question amazingly when I asked it of him. He said it was absurd. I still remember his answer. we cannot do this here. I cannot fix California and the way they think, but for whatever influence I have, I will not agree to great inflation in our access schools, and we as a department should just simply, fly in the face of that and just simply not support that at all.
I agree. It's a big disservice to our kids because they go, with these artificial grades and they don't succeed. And so I think it's a big disservice. And I know that there's a lot of it that goes on. I hear about it, and so if you have any suggestions, we're open.
No, I thought that was important enough that I think the public should see that.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. It's always fun to see a video at the end of the evening. All right, next, under staff recommendations, Dave, do you want to come join us for a very quick presentation? I saw a very quick presentation from Dave yesterday. That's why I'm teasing him. You can make it as long as you want today.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see, we go. I'll try to make this as brief as possible. All right. Well, again, thank you and good evening, President Barkey, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to review with you our 25-26 second interim financial report. And this report represents, it's the second official revision to the department's adopted budget that the board approved back in June. And so it also incorporates all the key components of the governor's proposed budget for next fiscal year. So this is the fiscal year 26-27 budget. The report does contain our actual financial data through January 31st. And of course, it includes updated revenue and expenditure projections, not just for the year that we're in, but those two subsequent years as well. And so here's a look at the agenda for tonight. First, we're going to review with you the governor's proposed budget for next year. This is 26-27, followed by the changes that occurred since the board approved our first interim report. This was back in early December. Tonight, we're also going to talk about some of the key budget challenges that we face moving forward, and then talk about the next steps in the budgeting cycle. So here's a glance at the governor's January budget proposal for next fiscal year. And we know the governor's proposal was released back on Friday, January 9th, and it does represent the start of the budgeting cycle for the next fiscal year. And so here's just a review of some of the key highlights contained in that proposal. First, we know the governor's estimating a modest budget shortfall next year of $2.9 billion. This is actually an improvement since the state budget was approved back in June. And it's largely due to an improved economic outlook as well as improved state tax collections, and that's in the current year. In fact, the Department of Finance is now projecting roughly $42.3 billion more in state general fund revenues over that 3-year budget window, and that's since the state budget was adopted back in June. It's also important to note that as of the LAO's November outlook report, the LAO was projecting revenues to come in lower than the Department of Finance by $30 billion over that 3-year budget window. And this was primarily due to the LAO's assessment of a strong risk of a stock market downturn that's not reflected in the governor's revenue assumptions. So with that said, this was a little over 2 weeks ago. This was back on February 20th. The LAO updated its big three tax revenue estimates, increasing them by $33.4 billion, up from their November projections, citing all the enthusiasm around AI and that related stock market boom. However, their revenue outlook for fiscal year 27-28 and beyond remains very similar to their November projections, and they continue to reflect the high risk of a revenue downturn. Under the LAO's assumptions, the state would face structural deficits of around $35 billion annually, beginning in fiscal year 27-28. So recognizing the risk, the governor's budget does note that much of the tax growth has been driven by these large technology companies that are benefiting from the AI boom. They also go on to note that if a stock market of more than 20% were to occur in the current year, 26, like the one that we experienced back in 2022, state revenues could be as much as $30 billion below the projections over that 3-year budget window. So here's a chart that highlights the changes in the state's revenue estimates that impact the Prop 98 guarantee. And so you can see over the 3-year budget window, this is fiscal years 24-25 through the budget year 26-27, state revenues are up by about $42.3 billion. That's as of the governor's January proposal, and that's when compared to estimates contained in the state's approved budget for the current year, 25-26. And so this chart just highlights the impact of the governor's revised revenue estimates on the Prop 98 minimum guarantee for schools. Due to that improved revenue outlook, the Prop 98 guarantee has been revised up since budget adoption by $3.9 billion. That's for last year, 24-25, $6.8 billion for the current year, 25-26, and then $11 billion for the budget year, 26-27. So for a combined increase of $21.7 billion in the Prop 98 guarantee over that 3-year budget window. Unfortunately, though, the governor's proposing another settle-up maneuver concerning the Prop 98 guarantee, and that's for the current year, 25-26. And we're going to highlight that here on this next slide. So this slide highlights the governor's proposed settle-up maneuver in covering the Prop 98 guarantee in the current year. This is 25-26. Based on those improved tax collections, the guarantee has been revised up by $6.8 billion this year. However, the governor's proposing to appropriate the guarantee at $115.9 billion instead of the currently calculated level of $121.4 billion, or $5.56 billion below the Prop 98 guarantee for the current year, citing uncertainty regarding the revenue estimates. And so this is the same maneuver that the governor proposed last year and was included in the 25-26 state budget act, although the amount that he's proposing this year is about 3 times as high as last year's amount. And the governor does state, though, that if the revenues materialize, funds would be owed to Prop 98 as settle-up or one-time monies in the 27-28 year. So he wouldn't pay those next year, but the year after. And so here's a look at the Prop 98 minimum guarantee for next year, 26-27. Governor estimates that the guarantee is $7.7 billion above the LAO's November estimate for next year. And again, this is due to those higher revenue estimates contained in the governor's January proposal. So here's just a look at some of the key risks to the state budget moving forward. Although the economic outlook and state revenue collections have improved since the state budget was approved back in June, there are definitely some risks to the state budget moving forward. Some of those include the potential for a stock market correction, and this is due to a potential AI bubble as well as elevated asset prices. Other risks, the administration's $22 billion projected state operating deficit. This is in fiscal year 27-28, followed by large projected deficits in each of the next 2 years as well. And of course, the LAO is projecting even larger operating deficits beginning in 27-28 of about $35 billion annually. States also dealing with sluggish job growth, and then the impacts of elevated inflation above the Fed's 2% target. And this is not to mention some of the uncertainty regarding federal policies, specifically related to immigration as well as foreign trade. Next, we're going to just review some of the key changes that occurred since the first interim report was approved by the board back in early December. And so here's a look at some of those key changes. So in this chart, you can see the cost of living adjustments and then the CalSTRS and CalPERS employer contribution rate estimates for each of the next 2 years. For 26-27, you can see the COLA estimate's been revised down from 3.02%, this is that first interim, to 2.41% under the governor's proposed budget for next year. Likewise, for the 27-28 fiscal year, that COLA estimate's also been revised down from 3.42% to 3.06%, and that's based on the latest estimates received from school services. Regarding the CalPERS employer contribution rate estimate for next year, 26-27, that estimate's also been revised down from 26.9% at first interim to 26.4% of the governor's proposed budget. Additionally, when we look at the 27-28 fiscal year, that estimate's also been revised down from 27.8% to 26.9% as of the second interim. And you're going to note there are no changes currently proposed to the CalSTRS employer contribution rate. That is set at 19.1% and is projected to remain that way for the next 2 years. So this slide just summarizes any changes in our estimated average daily attendance, and this is since the board approved our first interim report back in December. So for fiscal years 25, 26, you can see that our projected AADA remains unchanged since first interim. And then on a similar note, you'll notice our projected ADA for each of the 2 subsequent years remains unchanged as well. So no changes in our projections. Next, we're going to talk about the purpose of the second interim report, and then just review some of the key budget assumptions that we use to build the report. So again, school districts, county offices are required to certify their financial condition twice each fiscal year. We do this once at first interim, and this includes our actual financial data through October 31st, and then again at second interim, which includes our actual financial data through January 31st. And of course, the first interim is due to the California Department of Ed by December 15th each year, and then the second interim report's due by March 15th. And both these reports include updated revenue and expenditure forecasts, not just for the current year, but again, those 2 subsequent years as well. And then this is just a look at some of the key assumptions that we used to build the second interim financial report. And you're going to notice we've included the current year and the 2 subsequent years as well. And then we've talked about this in the past. When you look at the salary lines that are included in the budget book, you'll notice the increased costs reflected for step and column for all of our classified, certificated, and management employees. If you're to drill down and look at the statutory line items, you'd see the increased costs reflected for the CalSTRS and CalPERS pensions. And then if you're looking at the health and welfare benefit line items, you'd see the increased costs reflected for health and welfare benefit premiums. In terms of the statutory COLA for the current year, it's set at 2.3%. And as we talked about earlier, the COLAs in the 2 subsequent years have each been revised down slightly. Average daily attendance for the current year projected at 4,464 ADA, and you're going to notice that we are projecting small declines each of the next 2 years. When you look at our LCFF revenue projections, projected in the current year at $102.8 million, that does represent a decline year over year. When we look at the 24-25 fiscal year, represents a decline of about 1.2 million. And the reason for the decline, again, it has to do with that COLA of 2.3%. It's just not enough to offset our funded ADA declines that we've experienced over the last 3 years. And the same holds true for 26-27. When you look at that year over year decline in LCFF funding, it's about $500,000 decrease. And the same is true in 27-28. It's about a $685,000 decrease in funding in that year. Again, it all goes back to those COLAs, just not enough to offset our funded ADA declines. For tuition in our Access and Special Schools program, in the current year projected at $49.6 million, and you're going to notice a couple increases in the subsequent years, small increases each of those years. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the key financial information that's contained in the second interim report. So here's a look at our multi-year projection. And again, this is a really summarized format for the report. If you want to look at a more detailed version, we do have it in the budget book. This is the combined general fund, so it includes all of our restricted categorical programs, and then it also includes all of those unrestricted operating accounts, of course, as well. You'll notice for the current year, 25-26, we're projecting an operating deficit of just over $10.5 million. That does not represent a structural deficit, meaning when you look at our ongoing operating revenues and our ongoing operating expenditures, they remain in alignment. So again, what this represents is really the spend down of some restricted one-time categorical dollars. We're spending those dollars down in the current year. They're dollars that were received in a prior year as revenue, and we're expensing them in the current year. It also represents the spend down of some one-time monies on capital projects as well. And then in 26-27, you'll notice we're projecting a small deficit that year, and that deficit is primarily related to a couple capital projects. And so as mentioned earlier, county offices are required to certify their financial condition twice each fiscal year. Again, once at first interim and again at second interim reporting. And there are 3 types of certification. First, we have the positive certification. It indicates a district will be able to meet its financial obligations over both the current and the 2 subsequent years. We also have what we call a qualified certification, and this indicates the district may not be able to meet its financial obligations either in the current or those 2 subsequent years. And then finally, we have the negative certification. and this indicates the district will be unable to meet its financial obligations either for the remainder of the current year or the subsequent year. And of course, our staff is recommending a positive certification be assigned to the second interim report tonight. Next, again, we'll talk about some of the key budget challenges that we face as a department moving forward. And as we've shared many times in the past, they're challenges that are not unique to our department. If you were to talk to any one of the districts here in Orange County or other county offices across the state, you're going to hear many of these same issues and same concerns. And so here's a look to some of those challenges. First, again, we know costs for step and column movement, the CalSTRS and CalPERS pensions, and health and welfare benefit premiums are going to continue to place additional strains on our school district operating budgets. We also know that inflationary cost pressures in other areas, such as supplies and services, that also remains persistent. Other challenges include the expiration of the huge influx we had in the one-time federal and state COVID-19 relief funding, the expiration of those dollars, our county offices' minimum state aid excess tax status, as well as the continued decline that we're seeing in enrollment throughout Orange County, which again could have an impact on enrollment in our own programs. And then lastly, for schools, even though Prop 98 funding is expected to increase moderately next year in 26-27, we know the state's facing some really large structural deficits. And whether we're looking at the governor's projected deficit of $22 billion in 27-28, or we're looking at the LAO's projected deficit of $35 billion, the numbers are very, very large, and they'll need to come up, obviously, with a plan to address those structural deficits. Finally, we'll just wrap up with a look at the next steps in the budgeting process. And so again, back in early December, the board took action and approved the department's first interim report. And then in mid-February, our educational services staff came in before the board and presented an update on our local control accountability plan. And then this evening, of course, we're asking for board's consideration and approval of the second interim financial report. And then in either early April or early May, and we want to get some input from the board on this, we'll present the budget study session to the board. And then in early June, of course, we always hold the public hearings on both the local control accountability plan and the department's preliminary budget. And then followed up in late June, we present both the LCAP and the preliminary budget for the board's approval. And so the budget that we present in June will be based on the governor's May revise. That's expected to be out in mid-May as always, and it will include the most recent tax estimates through the month of April. So it really provides us our best guess of what the state budget's going to look like in the coming fiscal year. And so that is our presentation tonight. I just want to, again, before I open up to questions, just thank our fiscal services team. It's headed up by Patty Benuela. She's our executive director. And Sal Romero is our assistant director, who's come on board in the past year and has really done a great job helping out the department. And they've got a great team, and just want to thank them for all the work that went into the budget book as well as the presentation tonight. And so with that, I'd like to open up to any questions.
I'll start. Ooh, I have a lot to say. No, no, I do have a lot to say, but I'm not going to say everything that's in my mind. But so if we look at the page 6, I think it is, or slide 6 with the state general fund revenues.
Yes.
And your green line and your purple line and your red line. I'm wondering if you can explain why it seems like every year the governor is overestimating and the LAO is taking a more conservative approach.
Yes.
I'm wondering why that is.
Yeah, that's a very good question. When you look at the revenue projections, especially this year, when you look at the revenue projections, obviously a lot of uncertainty around regarding revenues overall at the state level. I guess what's interesting is the difference in those projections this year. I mean, $42.3 billion between the time the budget was approved back in June and in January when he released his January budget proposal, difference of $42.3 billion, right? That's a huge variance.
And why do you suppose I think you said there's 3 times, the overestimation is 3 times more than it was last
Yeah, well, that was under the maneuver. It's
Yeah.
three times the size.
If I heard
but-
you correctly, yeah.
Yes. What's interesting about, you look at the LAO's projections, right? So November, so before the governor released his January proposal, their revenue estimate was $30 billion less than what the governor was estimating in January. They come out 2 months later, and now they've revised their revenues up by $34 billion. So even between the governor and the LAO's office, the revenue has been all over the place this year. And so I think there's a lot of factors that are contributing to it, but the Department of Finance typically does tend to overestimate revenues, and the LAO tends to be a lot more conservative in their estimates. I think that's a general trend.
And then, so given that, which I've seen this pattern play out for the last 8 years, pretty much.
Yes.
How do you all adjust to that information, and in terms of planning for how you're going to address these structural deficits here in Orange County?
Yeah, it's a great question. We are very conservative when we build our budgets. That's one of the things that, if you were to talk to any of our fiscal services staff, Patty Dunn-Willis, our executive director, Sal Romero, our assistant director, we're all very conservative. And so when we put the budgets together and we present them to the board, we're taking a very conservative approach. And so, and we're using assumptions that are provided by, the leading experts, School Services of California, CASBO. So we're not using any assumptions that are outside the norm.
Okay.
And we're always looking at different scenarios of what could happen. So we're doing a lot of that work behind the scenes, discussions amongst our own team. And so, but we're very, very conservative.
And I know you are. I just want the public to know that you're on it, basically.
Yeah.
And then my last question, I would have a lot more, but in terms of really getting to the point, the meat of this proposal, is my colleague Joel Kotkin, who I work with at Chapman University, he's a demographer, basically, and he follows all the trends of the population, and he just put out a report, I think this week. I read it, I think just a couple days ago, that Orange County, for the first time now, the largest segment of the population is going to be over the age of 65. And it, for the first time, outpaces the young people between, I believe it was ages 14 to 25 or 14 to 28 or something like that, which, the lower end of that obviously impacts the enrollment numbers. And the other thing his article said, so you might look him up, he follows this stuff very carefully, is the birth rates are very low and decreasing. And people are leaving California, as we all know, and they're leaving Orange County. Young people, and when I've seen this with college students, they can't afford to live here. They can't afford to have the American dream of purchasing a home, and they can't even pay the rent, so they're leaving. So anyway, that's going to, I think, continue to impact K-12, because there aren't going to be families to plug into the system in terms of the low birth rate.
Yeah. And when you look at the enrollment declines at the state level, it's definitely heading in the wrong direction. We've been declining for some time, and you're right. The population continues to age. 65 plus is growing, and it's not on the opposite end of the curve. So. And
so so given all that, I'm not just saying it to hear myself speak, but given all that, I know you guys are following the enrollment trends, but the birth rate's going to impact it. His article didn't surprise me, but it actually, it's worse than I thought. The trend is continuing down. And how's that going to impact our K-12 system?
Yeah, I'd love to read that.
Yeah, I can forward it to you guys. So things to think about.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave, what were the one-time expenditures and the capital one-time expenditures that are causing the negative deficit
Yeah, let me go.
For this year and next?
Yeah, let me look at that chart. Go back to the multi-year projection. Here we go. So this is the slide where we were talking about the spend down of the restricted categorical program dollars in the current year. There's a number of different programs that we receive dollars for, revenues that we received in the prior year that we're spending in the current year. One of those is the Learning Recovery Block Grant That's one of those programs. MTSS funding is another one. We're receiving dollars in the prior year. The list is pretty long. School Link Partnerships is another. Student Behavioral Health Incentive, those are all programs that are included in that deficit number you see up there. The capital projects include Rancho Sonata. That's a project that we've been working on. And then with finishing up the conference center, Building D, they've got some carryover expenditures in the current year for, a lot of it had to do with some of the equipment that we're installing after the building was completed, and then the furniture. And so those are the projects that are included in there.
Okay. That's all I had.
Can I look at slide 8?
Yes.
I'm not sure I totally understood this. So Prop 98's guarantee is, oh, sorry, I made it go. Okay. 121.4 billion, right?
Right, right.
But the governor is proposing to fund it at 115.9. And how does he get away with that? I'm sorry, you're saying it's called a settle up proposal, but what?
Yeah.
What is the mechanism that he doesn't fully fund Prop 98?
That's the million-dollar question. I know that the different education groups have already challenged this last year. I think there's lawsuits already pending regarding this. Normally, if you're going to reduce the Prop 98 guarantee, you suspend it, and it requires 2/3 vote of the legislature to do that. This is something outside suspension of the Prop 98 guarantee. It's something that the governor came up with. I believe it's a balancing mechanism. Again, it goes back to those uncertainty regarding the revenues. They're really not sure whether or not the revenues will come in. He's concerned about over-appropriating the guarantee in a given year. And so this is just some creative mechanism that it appears that himself and probably the Department of Finance came up with to help sort of prevent over-appropriating the guarantee in any given year. But in terms of...
So we're not suspending Prop 98, neither are we fully funding Prop 98. Do I have that right?
You're correct.
Okay. My first job out of graduate school, I was a staffer for the governor of California. And he was accused of not fully funding Prop 98. People were strapping dynamite to their chests and laying on railroad tracks as a result. And it's funny that this is happening. I don't hardly hear a whisper about it. I don't know. I guess it's a different situation. But the other question, I know these numbers are probably, what did you say, a couple weeks old?
So which numbers are you referring to?
Well,
the governor's budget numbers were released in mid-January. The LAO just updated their report a couple weeks ago. All of our financials that we have in here are pretty much through...
From the January budget?
Yes.
Okay. But the LAO just got updated a few weeks ago. So.
Yes, February 20th.
I know it's probably an unfair question, but I just was kind of thinking as I'm listening to this, it's been less than a week now, but the missiles are flying across the Middle East, and I don't know what the price of oil and things like that. What do we think that does to our state budget, if anything?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the big things that everybody's looking at is obviously the stock market and what happens to the market if there's a downturn, and what happens with the capital gains, because so much of that revenue fluctuation that we're talking about has to do with the capital gains component. And so if there was a large stock market downturn, like one that we experienced back in 2022, that could represent a 30% fluctuation, or a $30 billion variance in the revenues over that 3-year budget window, 24-25 through 26-27. So that's one of the real impacts. I mean, if it would trigger a downturn in the market, it doesn't look like that's what's happening. We had the first day after it was, we found out about the news, the market dropped first, down 1,000 points, but then recovered. And I think it actually closed up today as well. We had a down day the following day. So it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen, but that's always a possibility. In terms of other revenue impacts on the state, it all depends. We have an economic slowdown. People stop spending because they're concerned. It doesn't look like that will be the case, but you never know. You never know how things might play out.
Dr. Williams?
Thank you for the well-created and organized presentation.
Thank you.
I like the colors, the information. Once again, you did a very nice job, David.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It was brief, but not too brief. It was very good. And I had the same question that Mr. Shaw had, is how does that happen? But it's a mystery that will probably be a mystery for a very long time, or at least till the end of this governorship.
Yes.
So thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. So our next item is number 16, to approve the second interim report. Dr. Williams made a motion.
Second.
And Dr. Sparks, second. What's that? Yes, uh-huh. Yes. All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, next to information items. And communication information discussion, the Memorial Day essay contest. I'm guessing that is you, Dr. Williams?
I didn't put it on.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I did.
okay.
Good job, Renee.
The question is, do we want to go forward with Memorial Day contest again in May? And does the board want to continue what they've done in the past where the board members and executive staff contribute to the scholarships our students get?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yep. Yep, I would say yes.
Then we will go forward with our planning because we need to get the schools going on that.
And we're going to invite Mr. Williams and the organization.
Yes, whatever, their name changed a little bit, but we have both contacts, so yes, we will do that. And I think we also already have the Sunburst color guard.
The color
also,
guard, right.
Yeah, so we're trying to line all that up. The other item I have is the board liaison. So I have the flyer that we used last time, and I just want to make sure that it's okay if we just update some information on that and then use the same process that we used last time for that.
And perhaps we can have some sort of certificate to give to the organizations that we honor.
He's back on Memorial Day.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, I will talk to you about that after. So there was some confusion on whether it's the Freedom Group. There's like two different groups.
Right. The Freedom Committee is
So
typically.
which one would you like it to be for?
The Freedom
Oh,
Committee.
Freedom Committee, okay. All right.
This is one for Dr. Bean if he wants it.
So this is what we had used last time for the position. And so we were planning on using the same flyer unless there was any changes. People.
I just think maybe we want to, Brendan, our current, I guess he's not here anymore, but our first inaugural board liaison was evolving in the position, and he, I think, added some things. So maybe we could ask him his advice on some additional bullet points that he developed.
Or maybe Greg knows them.
Or maybe, yeah, maybe.
Well, he gave us a job description.
Yeah,
so
he
we
started
can
a
look
job
at that.
description.
Oh, okay.
And we were in constant contact
Okay.
with him,
They
so I'm
weren't-
happy to call him.
Yeah, but they weren't that, this is a very
Broad.
and
Right,
so
right.
I don't know for getting the flyer out for recruiting, we need it, but I think for the job description, it would be
Okay.
helpful to add that.
Okay. I just think so they know what they're getting into, because it'll probably still evolve too,
Well,
but.
yeah, and I think it'll help answer our questions, because I think we interviewed last year, we were kind of like, they're like, well, how many hours? We're like, we don't know, like, what is it? And so we'll have a little more, understanding
Okay.
of what the needs are.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I have another item, if I could.
Absolutely.
This one's very important.
Okay.
So I want to share that Dr. Bean was actually named the 2026 CAFL Awards recipient for Superintendent of the Year.
Wow.
California
Nice.
Wow, look at that.
That's so cool.
Very,
Congratulations.
very prestigious. You can see his picture here.
Yeah.
So he didn't want me to do this, so I'm very sorry, Dr. Bean, but I thought it was a great honor for him and for our office.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
pretty.
explain what CAPL is to the public.
It is the California Association of Asian and Pacific Leaders in Education.
Awesome. Congrats.
Beautiful.
That's all staff, right? I mean, that's the programs that we have. That's our teachers and access. I mean, it's absolutely a team effort there. So.
Yeah.
I think it might have to do with your leadership too.
Well,
I had to get
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little.
Thank you.
Okay, the other items I do have. We'll let Dr. Bean go first. How's that on his
Well, if
announcements?
you want to finish, I mean, if you just have
the
a
other
few.
thing I just
might as
had
well.
is we do have your Form 700s are due on April 1st. I know that Mr. Rowland has sent out some information on that if you need that. You will have 2 resolutions. Our next meeting date is April 8th. Submission date is March 25th, and the packet delivery will be April 3rd. We have 2 resolutions, the Day of the Teacher and classified employees. We do know that we have at least 2 interdistrict appeals for next month, and then we have 3 pending. So we've gotten used to a couple of meetings not having those, but you'll see those probably coming in the spring. And I think we have about 3 charter school presentations. So just to give you a timing for the meeting. And I think that is all I have. I have to look at my notes. That's all I have.
It's April 8th, you said?
April 8th.
Okay.
April 8th,
might as well let her
I'll need to send our
Yeah, that was
address and
Okay.
where I'll be. Uh-huh.
And did you make a decision on the budget planning session? Do you want it for May or April?
As far as what we have forward next, for the April meeting, we still have quite a few charters. Will May be quieter? Should we put it on May just to
Could be.
keep
He'll
the
probably have a
meetings?
little more information by May too.
Okay, yeah,
If
why
that's
don't we do
helpful,
May?
May?
If that's
Okay.
agreeable to everyone?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, superintendent's report. We skipped last month, so this is going to highlight a few additional updates that we wouldn't traditionally have. So remember, everything is grounded on the 531 strategic plan, so I want to give you updates on certain components of the plan. First is around our vision for students. Proud to say that students with disabilities and their families will gather on March 10th in Irvine for the 2nd annual Empowering Transitions Building Futures event. And this really showcases and helps students with leadership conferencing, youth business showcase, and has over 75 agencies that participate. So it aligns agencies in our county with our students with disabilities and families. Fantastic program. Under district and charter school leadership, we want to congratulate 8th grader Sydney Tran of El Rancho Charter School. She repeats as the OC Spelling Bee champion. She spelled the word charcuterie.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very difficult word. I actually had to look up the word.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that's how you spell charcuterie. So
What is charcuterie?
CHAR.
yeah.
Oh,
CT.
So good for her. And then of course,
Charcuterie is the meat.
well represented our district Anaheim Hill campus is Catherine Kuo and Joha Lee of Beacon Park K-8 placed third. Very proud of all 3 students. Under guidance and technical assistance for districts, we're hosting a career fair March 31st. That will take place between 3 and 7 at our conference center here. Hiring school districts from across the county will connect with candidates interested. So we're going to have lots of different students here and schools as well. Enhancing CTE, OC Pathways, we just had a showcase that spotlighted student innovation. We had over 1,200 attendees there to celebrate the region's growing network of career pathway opportunities. You know, one thing I've learned in this role, and I said it yesterday, is that county office responsibility is really to connect community resources, nonprofits, profits, and really align them with what district needs are. It's a very fascinating supports that we do. Ensuring student and school safety under the leadership of this board. Actually, I was let me just go to the next one here. Under the leadership of the board, April 14th, we're having active shooter preparedness forum here, led by Seal Beach Police Captain Nick Nicholas. And so we are sending invites out to the community, and this is a well-planned event. I know, Mary, you were leading the charge on that, so thank you.
Yeah, very excited.
Very excited about that.
We had a forum a while ago, and I'm excited.
Are we inviting like school resource officers, and who gets invited to that?
Yeah, our broad network. We just got in touch with the sheriff. He actually gives his blessing on this. He's glad that you guys are doing it, and he would like to do the same thing in the future. So we're definitely casting a wide net on who comes to this. Okay? This Friday, I'll be opening up the Ensure Justice Conference at Vanguard, and it's done or hosted by the Global Center for Women and Justice. And the topic this year is resilience and ready, speaking really around how we support our youth facing many challenges on social media. Okay. And then the last thing we wanted to share was their funding innovation. We're very proud to announce our 6 districts that are receiving $5.25 million. Mind you, this is restricted funds from DA, meaning that the DA has funds that are restricted only for supporting school districts. So our county is one of the first to be providing what we call innovation funding for innovative practices. We had 29 applications, 23 districts applied. And so we just announced the 6 winners of that funding that they would be getting anyways through this restricted funds. So we're really proud of how we were very innovative in the mechanism in which we delivered that funding.
You said it came from the DA as in
differentiated
No,
assistance.
not our DA, not our DA,
Oh.
but differentiated assistance. Yeah,
Got it.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Educational, yes, that's right. Thank you for saying that out loud.
Okay.
Yeah, not our DA's office.
Okay.
Differentiated assistance.
Thank you.
And where do those funds?
That's from the state.
So
Yeah.
we receive those funds specifically for districts that fall lower on the dashboards. So like we looked at the charters, when districts fall into that, they are required to go into this differentiated assistance. The county office is required to do specific supports to those districts. And so this is really Dr. Bean's brainchild of finding innovative practices that we can then share. As part of them doing this, they have to share how they've done that with other schools.
They have to share their best practice in these projects and then hopefully replicate to support other districts through differentiated assistance.
Okay.
And a very innovative way to use those restricted funds, and it's taken notice in other counties. A lot of county superintendents are really inquiring about this and wondering how we managed to do this. So
Good.
it's very good use of those funds. So anyways, we're very proud of that. We'll be announcing it at the State of Education address. I think only one of you 5 have signed up
I
for that.
signed up.
I've signed
Oh, you
up.
did?
Yeah,
Oh, Lisa, you must be one of the first to sign up.
I signed up.
All right, okay. So we have 2 out of the 5. We have standing room only now. The room only fits 500, and now we have over that.
Wow.
And then of course the superintendent's lunch with the superintendents. You're invited to that as well.
So those of us that RSVP'd early have seats.
Yes.
Okay, just want to
But
make
they're
sure.
probably standing room only though.
Okay.
So please register. There's a QR right there, and
Or they can let Drew know.
or you can let Daru know, and she'll
she'll
just
let-
put you on the spreadsheet.
So you don't have a seat? It's
I do
standing-
have a seat. I
You just said it's standing room?
No, they have.
No,
but
we have a seat because we did it
you
early.
guys have a seat
Yeah.
because you're the
We're
Orange
early
County Board of
birds.
Education.
Yeah.
And so we will have a handler, probably Daru or Renee, make sure that you guys are assigned seats up front.
Handler. That
We
sounds
get
important.
handlers.
You guys get handlers. Just to let you know, the 500 people that have signed up are superintendents, district personnel, community resources, community agencies, business officials, nonprofits, and our government officials. So lots of who's who will be in that room that day. And I'm working on my speech and working hard on it. So hopefully you guys can attend.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'll be great.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh.
Stupid work gets in my way sometimes.
Oh, I understand. I understand. All right. That's the report for today, and thank you for your guys' leadership of our department.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you for your leadership. It's obvious your leadership by that beautiful award I saw.
Yeah.
We knew it already, though. All right, next, legislative updates. Do we have anything you want to?
Trying to remember, I mean, we do have calls regularly with our state lobbyists, and there's a humongous volume of bills percolating in the legislature, but I don't know that we are ready to discuss any particular. There's a kind of a watch list, right?
There's a watch list, and there's a few that we're going to bring back to the board for discussion. We were thinking of issuing some letters of support and letters in opposition, but we're waiting to bring them to the entire board.
Great.
Is there anything out there like we've been facing the last few legislative sessions?
249 is still there, but there's no way it's alive. It's dead, but it's a 2-year bill, so we managed to end its life in this first year. It's worth discussing, sure.
So just the one thing, you know how last year we had AB 84 or whatever,
414?
84 charter schools. The governor this year has actually put that in the trailer bill language. And so we're looking at that. It doesn't have a lot of that was in AB 84, but by putting in a trailer bill language kind of makes it more difficult for people to argue against it. And so we are looking at that.
So most of what we've seen of SB 414, which was the counterpart of the 84, is found in that trailer bill. And so it has language that really not restricts, but is more strict language around accountability, charter accountability, and budget and fiscal oversight.
So part of like as you hear us talking a lot about the credentialing piece, and so for school district, if you have a teacher who's misassigned, they actually reduce our average daily attendance. We don't get funding for those that are not correct. They haven't done that to charter schools. The trailer bill language will treat them like charter schools now, or like regular schools.
Yeah,
So
regular schools, if a teacher is not credentialed, those students aren't really there.
They're not funded.
So they're not funded.
Yeah. Okay.
And so now they're delivering that on charter schools.
I have a feeling that's going to fix all the credentialing real fast.
All right, next, any committee reports? I don't think we have anything. No. Board member comments. We'll start with Dr. Sparks. Anything?
Oh, I already made my comment. I did a flyby of TLC, and I would like to spend more time there based on the flyby, 15 minutes that I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep, I agree. I spent the morning there, and it was well worth my morning. I could have spent all day. But
Yeah, it's amazing what they're doing. So.
Like Tim says, work gets in the way sometimes. But
Yeah, exactly.
George?
So we had an access teacher tonight advocating for her students in saying that we are not providing sufficient transportation, nor are we providing new laptops. So I'm going to ask the teacher, who is still in the room, to please send me an email. I ask that you please be detailed in your email about what transportation is not being provided to our students. You don't need to name names, but give me some indication of how many students are not being served, in your opinion, not being served properly. As far as the laptops, how many laptops are we talking about? And also, when I think about computer equipment, is this the equivalent of this is just an analogy, not having like an iPhone 17, which costs $1,000, as opposed to an iPhone 15, which will do all the same things but only costs $200? What is deficient in the laptops that you were given in your classroom? So if a teacher comes here and says that we're not providing something to our students, that's going to raise my eyebrows. And then once I get your email, I'm going to ask for a meeting with Dr. Bean and whatever support staff is necessary, for purposes of funding, how much these things are going to cost. And then I will get back to the teacher with an email response.
I have some breaking education news. Luke Shaw was accepted to Cal Poly Pomona and Brigham Young University since our last meeting. So
very nice.
Well, stay tuned. We've got UCLA and UC San Diego outstanding still, but we'll see probably by next meeting.
Excellent. And I said mine was just, I went to TLC, and I would encourage everyone to go and spend as much time as they can, and it was amazing. So that's all for me. Dr. Williams? All right. I believe, let's see, closed session, public report out. We didn't have a closed session, so I think we're good. We will adjourn at 8:07.
Make a motion.
All right. Anyone want a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank